everyone. Welcome back to Belly Veil Tarot and Astrology. I am Candace Marie. Thanks for joining me. Happy Saturday. We're here on a different day than we usually are, so hopefully our usual crowd is here. If you guys can see me, give me a thumbs up, like the stream. Help me let other people know that we are live and on the channel. We're going to be doing readings this evening. We're going to be doing tarot readings by donation. Welcome. Let everybody kind of shuffle in a little bit. We've got some people who are already in the queue, and we've got some level 3 members also who are going to be getting readings this evening. How's everybody doing? If you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm a Western astrologer. I also practice working with tarot intuitively for my sessions. We alternate and do weekly readings, generally on Fridays every other week. We either choose between tarot or astrology. This week we're going to be doing tarot. If you'd like to get a reading this evening, we're going to be doing 1 and 3 card offers. So donation-based readings, basically $20 for 1 card. Ask any one question you'd like, or a 3-card spread, any one question that you would like. You can make your donations by scanning the QR code right up here somewhere. It'll take you to my PayPal. If you scan that, you can make your donation of $20 or $40 for your reading. In the memo box, please put any information pertaining to your question. You can put your name, birth information, or you can give more details about the question that you are asking about. What's going on, everybody? What's up, Nancy? Hey, Kurt. Hey, Em. Hey, Dena. Hey, Ann. How's it going? So we've got a handful of people here already, a couple of our level 3 members. It's also the beginning of the month, so this is the very first live reading that we're doing for the month of October. So if you are a level 3 subscriber, if you have joined my memberships and you donate monthly, big thank you to you. We take some of those readings first, so we do have Nancy and Dena. Is there anybody else who's level 3 that wants to get their monthly reading for November in now? Hey, Sasha. Hey, Maid. Hey, Jessica. What's going on, guys? And while I wait for a few people to pop in, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who is any of the support that we get through the membership. So if you guys didn't know, I offer memberships. We have level 1, 2, and 3. You can get in and donate on just like the basic level. And we also have a level 2 where you're going to get a shout out, and a level 3 where you're going to get a reading once a month. Pretty sweet deal. It's actually more affordable to get a monthly subscription right now than it is to get a reading. So if you're somebody who comes here monthly, do consider joining my level 3 memberships. If you guys go to my community tab, and if you go to my main page, you can go and see my memberships and see what you get for each individual level, and you can join. But I want to say a big thank you to Still Ripples, Exalta Tarot, MV, Thunder Spooks, Claire, MK, Coco, Dena, Angie, Deanna, Blunt Hair, Jessica Solis, Diana, Everita, Catherine Murray, Enchanted Crossroads, Jen, Shannon, Sarah, Tonya, Barbara, Penny, Steve, Paula, Angela, Willow, Emma, Susan H, Miss Taliba, Jackie, Harazed, Nancy, Jessica Martinez, and Susan Wexler. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Just want to give you a big shout out and say thanks. So it looks like you got Nancy wants a love reading. Jessica's going to hold off, but she can make a donation if you want. And we will be back here next week for astrology. So if you guys want astrology, we can. So I got you, Deanna and Nancy. Outside of that, if you are new to doing my live readings, basically once I do the level 3 members, we're going to go through all the other readings. I'll give you guys like a call list so you know who I've got. And I'll usually announce 2 or 3 people in advance, so that way you know if your reading is coming up. And then if I miss anybody, just let me know. And if your name differs on YouTube versus on PayPal, just give me a heads up, because sometimes the names are different. I don't know who's who. But I've got Salamar, Melody, Angie. We've got Mayad, am I saying that correctly? Carolina, Matt P, Miss V, Hiba, Matt V, Rachel, and Brenda. So that's who I've got in the queue. We'll leave this open for a little bit, so we'll give you guys a countdown and let you know when we're getting ready to close the sign-up list for readings. I got you, Angie. Miss Beers. Thanks, Jessica. I will add you to the list. I'll do a 1-card reading for you, but you're not a part of the monthly. I got it. Jessica, 1 card. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll start doing the readings and we will see what the tarot has to say. Thanks, Rama. I got you. All right, so we're gonna start first with Nancy. It looks like Nancy wants a love reading, so let's see what the cards have to say for you. Thanks, Sasha. I got you. I'll update this in just a second. Thanks, guys. If you just sent it, I will update you guys probably in about 10-15 minutes, but if you sent it, I will call your name. So this is for Nancy. Nancy wants to know about love. What's up, LZ? Hi from Atlanta, Georgia. Well, thanks for watching. These are the cards that I get in this order. Remind me, Nancy, are you a Virgo rising? I can't remember. I feel like you had Virgo something in your chart. Devil coming up upright with the 10 of Wands and the 8 of Cups. So obviously we start the reading off with a major arcana card. So this is really kind of talking about boundaries, limitations, working through setbacks, and challenges of maybe feeling stuck. This is in the past position, so it can talk about that you're moving out of this phase, or you're learning to kind of cut yourself off from something. Nancy's a Virgo sun. I thought so. So this can also be talking about Saturn's placement. Saturn's going direct this week, so you may really feel the heaviness of Saturn. 7th house to your sun, so it can represent relationships with other people. Saturn going direct is actually really positive, so it does indicate that there is some sense of finally moving forward after a delay. So if you've been feeling stuck, maybe it's been about reflecting on where there's been challenges in overcoming the past, breaking free from certain patterns or habits in relationships, or limited ways of seeing relationships. Then we have the 10 of Wands coming up in the current position, which means you are completing a cycle. There is a sense of finally getting to a point where you're like, I'm ready to let something or someone go. Maybe it can be feeling the responsibility for having to carry the weight in a relationship, for having to do all of the work, for being the person who is, chasing after something or chasing after someone. Nancy's saying she's a Pisces rising, so Saturn's crossing somewhere through her ascendant or her first house. So it's even doubly interesting because it can be talking about the relationship she has with herself and through stronger commitments to herself and really focusing on what she can and cannot take with her moving forward. It's going to have a big impact on relationships. The 10 of Wands in the current position makes me feel like you're about to be complete with something. And so I don't know if that means that you're looking at an interaction you're having with somebody being like, okay, am I kind of deciding whether or not I should pursue this or walk away? Does this mean that you're looking at an interaction you're having with somebody feeling like it can be too much, like chase and not enough like receiving support from them? Wands are also about energy, action, vitality. And like sometimes when this card comes up in the current position, a client will be being like, I've got so much on my plate with work or with school or with my schedule or my responsibilities. There is this feeling of being like, I don't know how much more I have to give for another person. So I'm wondering if you're feeling like overwhelmed or that there is just a lot of challenges in regards to your daily routine and being able to just take on one more thing. Then we've got the final card, which is the 8 of Cups. And this is a card that is about leaving something behind, walking away from something. So once again, none of these cards are relationship-y cards. None of these cards are about, meeting somebody new or a relationship developing. Interestingly enough, like I feel like the cards that are about leaving old patterns behind and finally breaking free, in my mind, would be the 8 of Cups, the 10 of Wands, and the Devil card. So I don't know if this is you kind of looking at things being like, I'm reflecting on where I've been, the mistakes that I've made in relationships, where I've given people too much, time or too much leniency, and like realizing like, okay, I'm ready to finally move forward into new territory when it comes to my love life. The 8 of Cups is a water element, so it does reference emotionally reflecting on the past, but being like, okay, we got to keep it moving, not going back to where we've been. After the 8 of Cups comes the 9 of Cups. So that is a card that deals with emotional fulfillment, wish granting, getting everything you want. But that may be coming after recognizing what you actually have to step away from, or what may feel like it's too much work, or what may feel like it's too challenging. Intuitively, I also feel like, you know, for you, this can be talking about your goals when it comes to relationships. You'll hear this a lot for, you know, for both for Pisces rising as well as like Virgos. There's a lot of action going on in regards to your goals. There's a lot of action going on in regards to your happiness and your joy, and trying to figure out what's going to feel like the most fulfilling, and whether that's who you're spending time with, what you're doing, what have you. These cards make me feel like this is more about being like, I'm walking away from something. It's not about receiving anything. It's about completing a cycle first, 10 of Wands, and really kind of deciding that you're going to let something be. With the 8 of Cups, you know, when that card comes up, it can be disappointing, feeling like, you know, something came really close, but it wasn't quite checking all the boxes, and like I can't stay and hang out because I'm delaying my own kind of development or my own happiness if I stay. Confirmation card that I got for you is the High Priestess. So this can basically be saying, like, when it comes to your vision and what you're hoping to achieve in relationships, you're not willing to make any sacrifices. You got to stay true to this. Something really magical about Saturn going direct if you're a Pisces rising, because I think that it's about you staying true to, you know, Saturn, which is your goals and your commitments, but it's also the ruler of your natal 11th house, which is about your goals and what you're hoping to achieve out in the world. So I think that that's really important. And also, you know, with 8s, there is this feeling of like transition, change, transformation. There is like this feeling of being like a little down or disappointed with what you're leaving behind, but also this awareness that you have to leave it behind in order to grow, right? So hopefully that this is the cycle that you're completing. I know for, you know, Pisces in general, when we start seeing things going on with, you know, maybe your 11th house in Capricorn season, you're going to see more opportunities to be able to socialize and kind of connect. You'll have a stellium of planets that'll be moving through there, Mars and Venus and the Sun and, you know, obviously Mercury. So lots of opportunities to get out there and kind of socialize. And I think that'll open up your opportunities to meet people. But right now, you're leaving some of these old relationship patterns behind. I hope that's helpful for you. We've got Dena, who is level 3 as well. And she was asking questions about, I think, the move and what's going on with your dude. I'd like to cash in what does Spain have in store for me and the Irishman. I'll see him on the 19th through the 27th. Love it. So you will be going to Spain. I love that. Are you going there on your own and then meeting him? Especially because you're going to have, you know, all that like Aries 9th house activation. So maybe it's just traveling on your own. You're welcome, Nancy. Good luck. All right, so this is going to be for you, Dena. Let's see what Spain has in store. Oh, that one. There we go. It was in this order. 7 of Wands, 6 of Pentacles, and the Star card. I like it. I feel like for me, and I don't know if this is like, if it feels like you're finally showing up, feels like kind of finally showing up to the plate. I know that's like a weird terminology, but you know, 7 of Wands is like standing your ground and making sure that you're seeing some things come to fruition. So I don't know if you're feeling like you've made plans and now you're like, okay, now I have to make it happen. Like now I have to get there, or now I have to take the time off, or now I have to kind of like make these things happen. 7 of Wands in the past position makes me feel as if you've been really focused and steadfast in making some of your dreams and your creative projects come to fruition. So now you're having to act on them. So if you've been telling yourself, I'm going to be more adventurous, I'm going to travel more, I'm going to be more creative, I'm going to take more chances, now is your time. The 6 of Pentacles is cool because that's about an exchange. So that can be about having support from other people, meeting people who can also help you or benefit you in a professional or in a financial way as well. I wonder if there's opportunities for like networking, or if there's going to be some like exchanges of services, or you're going to be meeting people and doing work for them and then doing some work for you. 6 of Pentacles is about, you know, paying something forward and it kind of coming back to you as well. Sometimes this can indicate like planting seeds and making it possible for you to kind of feel out places that you could work, people you could collaborate with. If you're thinking about like doing retreats there, or, you know, having clients there or returning there to do some collaboration with someone, wonderful. Especially because sixes are about getting all your ducks in a row, getting everything organized, making sure that everything is on schedule and like put together. I do feel like, and you know, being a Leo rising, it's so good that you're getting out of the house with these transits, because it really is going to be putting quite a bit of emphasis on, you know, making changes in your private life. So getting out and about and doing something is really wonderful. But I also feel like coming back, it might give you more incentive to feel like, okay, I really can move forward with some of my dreams and some of my intentions. Traveling more, relocating, right? Being able to kind of really fully pursue some of this like professional stuff that you're doing independently on your own. I think also that the star card kind of capping the reading being like about the connection with the community, about branching out and feeling like you've got people in different areas that you could potentially work with, making new friends. This is also about dreams coming true, intention coming true. I almost wonder if you feel like it's been really challenging trying to do some of this work either at home or by yourself with where you've been currently living. And so that feeling of I need to have community, I need to kind of broaden my network is really putting the fire under your tush to try to get you out there and to get you connecting with other people so you can create a network where you're feeling a little bit more established, right? So that way when you come back, you can be like, look, I can do this. I've got places I can go, or people I can connect with, or people I can refer back and forth to, or opportunities that might be in other places where I can kind of start building so I feel like I can make my dreams a reality. She says, yep, we want to fly to Madrid together. Cool. All of that celebrating with other has been fantastic. He has Irish community, so helpful. And I feel like when I get back, I'm going to want to leave immediately. Yeah, for sure. I also think that what's really interesting is, you know, something about the Six of Pentacles and the Star card makes me feel like you may find other people who are trying to do similar work, who are also working independently, that are looking to kind of create like a network of people that they can kind of like refer to or connect with. My advice is be really open with exchanging your information and trying to find ways of like getting to know people and making friends, or giving them ways to be able to kind of get in touch with you, because you might be like letting them know that you're doing circles or you have some kind of groups that are meeting. So that way people know like how they can find you and connect with you, because the Star card is not just about community, it's about healing and being able to come together collectively. So there may be a sense of kind of, you know, putting the pieces together and meeting people who might be a big piece of what you ultimately end up kind of building. And I wonder, like, is it other, you know, facilitators? Is it other teachers? Is it going to be other communities or community centers that potentially are going to give you the opportunity to feel like you're gonna be able to build this network? But yeah, right now it's holding yourself accountable and being like, okay, I made these plans, here I go. And now it's really kind of putting you out in the open. But I think it's going to be a great trip, and I like the opportunity to be able to kind of get support along the way. Good luck. Enjoy your trips. That's going to be super fun. It's amazing to be able to go. You're going from Ireland and then to Spain, so you're going to get a wide range of cultural experiences there. All right, so we have Jess that wanted her one card. I'll update you guys in just a second on my list. So Jess says, I don't want to cash in, but I sent $20. What is coming towards me generally? And if you guys are just tuning in, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, click the bell button, and give me a thumbs up if you can see the stream, please. If you guys want to get a reading, we're going to leave it open for another 7 minutes. The QR code is somewhere up here, I think. I can't see it, but I think it's somewhere over here. So let's take a look. Let's see what is in store generally for my buddy Jess. Ooh, we get the Page of Cups. The confirmation card's the Four of Wands. Well, what do I like about the Page of Cups? The Page of Cups can be an indication of a relationship card. It can be about connecting with a water sign. So it can be a Pisces, a Cancer, or a Scorpio. This can also be about really exploring your emotions more, kind of connecting more with them, listening to your intuition. Pages are always just kind of getting a feeling for this energy. So it can be somebody you're just meeting and getting to know. This can be about developing new relationships with people romantically or in terms of friendship. This isn't really a card that's like business oriented. It definitely is about being a little bit more sensitive, open, and maybe even romantic. With the confirmation card being the Four of Wands, I feel like this is about being more so open to connecting with people and trying to meet somebody in a public space. This can be seen as like getting back out there and just, you know, trying to meet somebody, going and being somewhere where there's gatherings, there's get-togethers, there's live music, there's parties, there's theater, there's acting, there's fun. The Four of Wands is traditionally seen as like a temporary space. Think of like, you know, a band that's coming into town to play, or, you know, a show that's only going to be around for a couple of days. But it is saying that there are temporary opportunities that are going to be arising, making it possible for you to have more opportunities for companionship, romance, relationships, getting out and having some fun and having some time, I think, to also like kick back and enjoy. The Four of Wands is about being able to celebrate the accomplishments that you have made so far. So if you've been working more on like developing your intuition, being open to relationships, if you are open to, you know, dating, this is about just kind of getting accustomed to that energy and giving yourself a pat on the back for the fact that you're open and that you're trying. I also feel like if you haven't already met somebody, you're going to in one of these environments, or you're going to get an offer to go somewhere that's going to be similar to the Four of Wands. So if you find that there's like an invitation or a party or an outdoor event or something, like go, because at the very least it looks like it's going to be fun, but at the very most it might be, you know, leading you to a chance opportunity or further developing a potential relationship or feelings with someone. Let's see what she say. I literally just got back on dating websites. I met someone last night romantically. You cannot make this up. Cool. So it's basically saying this is the beginning. This is the beginning process of that. And you know, for me, the Four of Wands is about being like, enjoy the moment. Don't be too worried about where things are going. Don't be trying to plan the future. Enjoy where you're at right now. Maybe get to know each other, going out and doing something in a public space. But I think that this is really great because it's kind of saying like it's about the first beginning phases of getting to know somebody and like really enjoying and going out and having fun and like being in an atmosphere where there's a lot of things that are kind of going on. So try to find something outside that you can do. Sometimes this is also like seasonal or like celebratory. So, you know, like if there is like seasonal events and things that are going on outside, as cheesy as it sounds, like that might be cool as well. So I think of like parades and fairs and, you know, like art displays and things that might be like, you know, relating to like the holidays, right? That would be a wonderful thing to kind of go out and do because it seems like it might be kind of romantic. Okay. That's awesome. Congrats on meeting someone. I like that the tarot basically said, just enjoy yourself. Don't worry so much about where it's going right now. Is it not too late to change my question? Yep, I can do general for you, Rachel. Hey, LZ. So I'll give you guys the update on who I've got. So I'm all finished with my level 3 people. So we've got like 2.5 more minutes if you guys want to hop on. And I'll let you know who I've got. Salamar, Melody, Angie, Maid, Carolina, Matt P, Miss V, Hiba, Matt V, Rachel, Brenda, Jessica, Sasha, Travis, Michelle, Brandon, Tissa, Omar, Felicia, Elaine, Mary, and Amanda. Michelle, I didn't get your question, and Sasha, I didn't get your question. So just making a mental note, I will need that, but wait until I get closer to your name and you guys can let me know your question so I don't lose you in the chat, okay? General love reading. Okay, cool. So I will ask you that again probably as we get closer. So we're going to do Mayad and Carolina and Matt P. Oh no, I take that back. Melody, Angie, and Mayad. There we go. Sorry guys, my PayPal's a little crazy. And we've got Salamar. All right, so Salamar, Melody, Angie, you guys are gonna be first. She is a Cancer. Says, what do I need to know most at this time? Thank you. What's up, Sonia? You're welcome, Jessica. Last call in 1 minute. Please include your question with your submission. Thanks, guys. All right, so what do we need to know at this moment for Salamar? There we go. All right, in this order. Whoa. So we've got 9 of Wands, the Strength card, and the Emperor. Nice. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. So 9 of Wands obviously seems like getting ready to complete something, assessing a situation, feeling like you're the last man standing, feeling run down, exhausted, overwhelmed. Maybe that you've been taking on too much, or there is a sense of you just kind of like assessing how far you've come in a situation. When this card comes up for me, I'm always really quick to like remind my client, you know, don't get overwhelmed, don't give up. This is not the time to quit. Like, be patient, give yourself a little bit of like a time to take a breath and reevaluate what is next. Sometimes in the past position, it's kind of saying like, I've been struggling, I've been trying to overcome something, I've been dealing with something on my own. Obviously, the next card that comes would be the 10, so that would be like a completion. Now, the Strength card comes up in the middle position. So this is basically talking about finding strength in the moment. Maybe this is about finding inner strength, inner confidence, the ability to overcome challenges. This is also about being able to tame certain situations with love, with compassion, and with patience. Not really feeling as if you're going to let the past hold you back. Not really feeling as if you're going to not believe in yourself. There is no doubt, and there is definitely not a lack of self-assuredness, I would say, or like confidence. Sometimes when the Strength card comes up, it's about reflecting on what has happened in the past and realizing like how strong you are. And it's not always about physical strength. It's about mental, physical, spiritual, right? It can be about emotional strength. And the Strength card also does touch on anything that's dealing with like Leo or the Sun. Now, the second or the final card that we get, the third card, is the Emperor. So the Emperor is about mastering something. I'm wondering, like, have you been going back and forth feeling like you're trying to overcome a challenge right now with your career? Have you been going back and forth feeling like you're trying to like gain your power back and feel more confident and feel more like you're in the driver's seat of your own life, and that you're making moves and you're not letting the past kind of get you down? Are you reevaluating some wounds revolving maybe a boss or like a father figure? These are, you know, different interpretations that I have, but you know, finally the Emperor card does represent being on top of the matter, being able to direct your energy better, being more assertive, being able to overcome a challenge and not just handling it, but mastering it. So the Emperor card is very much about Mars. It's masculine energy. It is about feeling more in the driver's seat of your own life. It is about taking charge. And I really look at this as not identifying as somebody who's been victimized or feeling like you are at a disadvantage. It's more about empowering yourself and being like, that's where I've been, but I'm not going back there, and like focusing on the future. But in particular, when this combination of the Strength card comes up with the Emperor, generally it's about overcoming challenges either with confidence, an issue pertaining to your professional life, or potentially even like a male parent. And also, you know, that's about Aries and the North Node. So you can look at where Aries is in your chart, where the North Node is going, because that's where you're taking more action. Confirmation card for you is the 8 of Wands, which is also a very like Aries related energy. I feel like this is more about you being like, I'm not focusing on what's gone wrong. I'm focusing on what I'm doing about things moving forward. Not getting stuck in the past and not allowing yourself to feel like you have been victimized, more kind of empowering yourself to feel like you have the capabilities of overcoming some challenges, especially with solar issues, career, men, you know, confidence, and taking action to proceed forward and definitely make strides for change. But yeah, I love those two cards coming up at the end. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Thanks for joining us for the readings. Readings are now closed. We just closed them. Thanks, LZ. I'll let you know when I get to your reading. We've got Melody and then Angie. So Melody says, October 23rd, 73. All right, so you're Scorpio. My life has changed in every factor that I knew to be true. So much in my freedom is in jeopardy and I'm nearing bankruptcy. What resolve can I expect? Meaning is my husband truly wanting to destroy me by testifying and ruining me financially along with divorce? Is there love in my future? Would love to know how to claw back to life. All right, let's take a look. So you're an early Scorpio sun, the 23rd. So you're within like the first 10 degrees. So you're really feeling the effects of Jupiter in opposition to your sun, and probably still Uranus in opposition to your sun. Pluto's coming in for the square, so big changes with home life and also with relationships. So let's see what the cards have to say in regards to your situation financially and with your ex or soon-to-be ex-partner. Tough one. Thanks, Only an Acre. I will get you really soon. All right, so let's take a look. This is going to be for Melody in this order. All right, well, the storyline or the plot definitely has a bit of a turn at the end for the better. So the first card that we start with is the Three of Swords, followed by the Empress, the Three of Cups, and the confirmation card is the Ten of Pentacles. Well, so when we look at the Three of Swords in the previous position, heartbreak, disappointment, feeling betrayed, hurt, right? You guys know in the traditional tarot, it's like the three swords sticking in the heart and they have to be pulled out. But when I think of this card, I think about the only way to get to the core of healing and being able to tend to the wound is pulling out, right, the sword or the weapon and having to apply pressure and like actually, you know, sealing everything off so that way you can kind of stay afloat. So it's about really dealing with the hurt, the disappointment, and really feeling that you have been either abandoned or, you know, mistreated in some situation. This is also about leaving the past behind and accepting things for what it is, you know, not necessarily saying you have to agree with it or that it has to make sense, but being like, okay, this has happened, but I cannot continue to bring the past with me. I don't want to continue the cycle of like hurt and toxicity and abuse in relationships. And then the current position for the Empress is it's night and day, right? Even if you just look at the two figures, you know, this is all dark and cloudy and she's looking down and she's in despair and the sun is setting and it seems like, oh my gosh, this is the end of the world. Versus, you know, having the Empress card in the current position where everything is bright and everything is alive and there's life and there's growth and there's development. This is a card of Venus, right? So it can be talking about increments of 3. This is a 3, this is a 3, this is a 3. I'm not sure what 333, if anybody is feeling like they want to Google it and let us know what that means. I know that, you know, when we see these repetitive numbers, when you see these sequences, they have meanings. So it might be worth looking into what 333 means. But I definitely feel like the Empress is really implying that within about 3 months or within the 3rd calendar month, coming into like the spring, this is a spring card, that there can be like a rebirth or there can be like a shift in regards to how you're treating yourself, how you're feeling, your relationship with your resources, and like some changes that actually end up coming, something good that comes out of, you know, this potential like ending. This can also be talking about relationships with women, mother figures, you as a mom, kindness, compassion, you know, and like really, really in spite of everything that's going on around you, taking really good care of yourself. And then that leads to the Three of Cups, which is a card of celebration, completion. This is about support from other people. This is about winning or overcoming something. This is about socializing and having a good time. I kind of wonder, like, you know, when you were saying, what resolve can I expect? Is my husband truly wanting to destroy me by testifying and ruining me financially along with divorce? Sometimes the Three of Cups is like a, you know, third person, you know, getting in the way type of situation. So I'm wondering, like, Are you guys staying together? You know, has one of you guys discussed like leaving the relationship? Ironically, this can mean that there's another person that comes in that helps restore the balance. And I don't know if that's another potential relationship, if that's a mediator, if that's a, you know, lawyer, but it does seem to me like you have the support of somebody who's going to be coming in and like assisting you in some capacity. This can also mean that there is a team that kind of champions you and kind of helps you. The cards could not be any better, basically, to move from the Three of Swords to, you know, the Empress, and the Three of Cups is basically surrounding yourself with people who are going to help build you back and kind of help you bring you back to life emotionally, not even so much financially. But if you're really focused on the financial side of things, you know, the confirmation card was the Ten of Pentacles, which means even though things look really grim, to be honest with you, like it looks like this is a season of change, and like just accepting and acknowledging the dynamic that you might have with some people. And it might be about getting, you know, your head around the hurt and potentially some things that have happened in terms of this relationship, but choosing yourself and going like, I'm going to celebrate. And rather than looking at this as a tragedy, looking at this like an opportunity to release myself and get into situations or get into relationships or support circles that are going to kind of lift me up. Because the Ten of Pentacles confirms all is well in the end, especially physically, financially, in terms of stability. So I know, being a Scorpio, you know, Jupiter and Uranus are going to be in your eighth house to your sun for the next, you know, several months to a year. So you may find that the shift, even though it was dramatic, it ends up being quite positive for you in the long run. And I don't see like financial ruin. That's definitely not something that's coming up in these cards. More just trying to overcome, you know, accepting the state of the relationship that may be ending. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Sending you lots of love in the midst of all of that change. Let's see. Somebody asked, did we change to Saturday nights just this week? Can someone post the order of everyone in the queue? Well, I'll let you guys know every so many readings. Okay, so we now have Angie, Mayad, Carolina, and Matt P. That's next. Okay, so what's up, Angie? Thanks for being a level 3 member. I love the cards for my November reading. My 28-year-old who lives with me and my new husband has depression, alcohol addiction, and has not worked in over a year, which has been very difficult to handle, to say the least. He's agreed to start an apprenticeship program and is supposed to move in with my brother soon. Brother also needs financial assistance due to debilitating chronic illness. My mother is helping to finance all of this, though I've encouraged him along. I'm extremely concerned that he is not serious about all of this and will fail by showing up drunk or not showing up at all. We are both Capricorn hubs too. Has natal Saturn at 22 of Pisces in the 3rd, while I have Saturn at 22 of Taurus. Hello, rough motherhood. All right, well, I'm sorry to hear that is challenging. I will tell you that, you know, your sun is in his Saturn's return coming up here pretty soon. It's not officially going to start until 2025, but Saturn is in Pisces, and Saturn is in a sign that it can be about sobriety. It can be about emotions, mental health related things. That's all Pisces. And in the 3rd house, you know, Saturn is his chart ruler also, if he's a Cap rising. So with Saturn being in the 3rd house, it's going to be about working on communication, responsibility, timing, but also the 3rd house can be about mental related things. And what can help him is walking, journaling, talk therapy. It can also be about him learning new ways to express himself. I've seen a lot of Cap risings with Saturn in Pisces, client-wise, a number of them that are struggling with addiction because Neptune is there as well. So to some extent, part of this could be the Saturn transit of having to get the show on the road and feeling like he's being, you know, more responsible for mental health. All right, so let's take a look. Let's see what the cards say for your son and what advice they can give you in regards to the situation with him. Okay, it was in this order. There's that Empress again. Maybe she will be the sponsor of this evening's readings. So we've got the Six of Wands, the Page of Pentacles, and the Empress, and this is covered by a confirmation card of the Ace of Cups. All really wonderful cards, you know. To some extent, maybe I'm biased. I kind of feel like people really grow up when they have their Saturn's return. The more that I like learn about like, you know, health and wellness and stuff, I've also read a number of articles the last couple of years that say that like we really don't fully mentally mature until closer to about 29 to 34. So that's interesting too, because that coincides with the Saturn transit and then finally Saturn leaving our natal Saturn placement by sign. I think about, you know, the Six of Wands, and that's about homecoming, welcoming. I do feel like even though this is difficult, you know, where he's moving into, where he's going to be staying or where he's going to be working, it does seem like people are welcoming him and they are encouraging him and being like, hey, like, we want to help you. So it does seem there's a lot of positivity that is circling around the situation in him, and really putting him up and encouraging him to be successful. This is a card that is about, you know, homecoming, people being receptive also of what you're trying to achieve. So that helps. We have the Page of Pentacles in the center position, which is interesting because that can be about an earth sign. So it can be about a Capricorn, a Taurus, or a Virgo. And so it might be referencing him as like a Capricorn rising. Pages are also people who are learning something new. So it can quite literally be like an internship or somebody who is going to be shadowing someone and like learning something. So it's interesting to say that he's starting an apprenticeship program and he's supposed to move in with your brother. So these changes are being welcomed. He's going to be accepting the position. The Empress card can be talking about you know, motherhood and the seasons of motherhood and like trying to stand by him and loving him and supporting him in the midst of some of these challenging situations. It can be literally saying that this is the process of you learning to be like, in order to be a good mom, I have to have like boundaries with him. And this is also this is about loving yourself, not just taking care of your kid. It can be about the relationship with your mom, because sometimes the Empress comes in and she's somebody who's like, I'm going to help support, or I'm going to donate, or I'm going to bankroll things. And then the confirmation is the Ace of Cups. So I really kind of see this as being love and support really can help him overcome some of these situations. These are all very positive cards. I also see this as encouragement going a long way in really pushing him and encouraging him, and also like holding him accountable for the fact that he's made commitments, you know, financially, physically, and also like job-wise to really do the work that he needs to do. Ironically, like none of the cards seem to come up saying like it's not going to work. They're saying that it's going to take a team to kind of push him along. Pages take time to develop, right? They're kind of like immature in a way. So Page of Pentacles can be somebody who isn't very intelligent or smart with their money. They don't really know the value of hard work and like earning their own way. So it can mean that they're only going to learn through having responsibility, timing, having to show up and put in the work before they realize like, okay, wow, this is definitely giving me a new awareness in regards to the true value of money. I don't see any like falling off cards, although I do feel inclined to tell you, like I said, the actual Saturn return will not take place until 2025. So you could see this year as, you know, Jupiter being in Pisces, Jupiter being in Taurus, as giving him the opportunity in his 5th house to be more creative, to be more self-expressive. That's by whole sign. So if he's a later degree Cap rising and it's in his 4th house, it's even better. It means he has the support from family before he starts to see the real kind of changes that are going to happen over the next 2 years. Saturn in Pisces is actually sextiling Jupiter. We're going to see this later this year. So the more committed he is, the more, you know, open and honest he is, the better he's going to express himself, the more likelihood also that he can have fun in ways that seem more structured. Saturn, I think, moving through his 3rd house is going to be about communication. So maybe it's about having an understanding that you guys are going to check in a certain day every week, right? Or that, you know, you guys are following up, or maybe you guys are making sure that You know, he's taking logs at work, or he's taking notes, or he's clocking in, or he's clocking out. Saturn's a lot about time. And I also would really encourage him to be journaling or considering doing talk therapy or doing something locally. The third house is your neighborhood. In getting him more so acclimated so that way he feels like he has support from other people, right? A little bit of love will go a long way. Hopefully that's helpful for you guys. So we've got Mayad, Carolina, Matt P, and Miss V. All right, so you are November 20th, 85. And your question is, will I do well in my grad program? I started in September in Chicago. I'm working hard, hoping for the best. I moved away from home and from the person I love. He's on my mind all the time. Will he come see me? Well, let's take a look. So how is the program going? And is there any chance of seeing this person? All right, in this order. Wow, there's that devil and that strength card again. So we've got Six of Swords, the devil card, and the strength card. Two majors coming up for you. For me, it's like, I see like the Six of Swords coming up with the devil card as being like, was it worth taking a chance and making a huge life change? Like moving to another country, potentially, you know, feeling like you're risking it all, or you're in a very limiting or a tight situation where there's a lot of restraints, and that can be physically or time-wise. And then the strength card does talk about being able to overcome that. It's interesting that, you know, the strength card can also be about, you know, distance or limitation or challenges, potentially making like relationships stronger. Six of Swords is about being in limbo. So I feel like for you, not because you just moved there in September, but because you're still kind of getting acclimated. You know, the Six of Swords talks about being in limbo, getting used to a new environment, moving on to a more peaceful or serene space, being somewhere that you're having to kind of like get accustomed to. And whether that's getting around and travel, communication, or just like getting comfortable with your neighborhood. And so right now, yeah, you're a little bit in limbo because maybe you feel like you're going to school there. You're not sure if you're going to stay or if you're going to leave. Intuitively, I also wonder, has there been conversations revolving around whether or not this person's going to come and meet you to be with you? Like in the long term, like is the goal for you to go to school there and maybe for them to come and meet you? Because it makes me feel like there's an end goal that you're really focusing and you're holding on to, right? That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting. Confirmation card is the card at the bottom of the deck, which is the Six of Wands. So that can be a confirmation that somebody will come and visit. I would be saying maybe, you know, December, January, or July or August. These are the timing cards that I get. Really, it can be talking about closer to about 6 months. So it can be talking about making that trek sometime next year. But I also think that, you know, the Six of Swords is about stress that might be coming from changing circumstances, or feeling like maybe you're at a bit of like in limbo, and you're like, okay, am I staying here or am I going somewhere else in the long term? But the strength card for me, you know, as the final position, is being like this being a situation that is definitely going to test your strength. It's going to be showing you that you can overcome any challenges, not allowing doubt or fear to kind of get into the way of things. So I feel like hard work and dedication, you know, you will prevail, especially when it comes to some of your educational goals. And the Six of Wands does make me feel like whether it's somebody saying come back and visit or I'll come and see you, that's a pretty positive indication. Let's see, what are you saying? Oh, I'm a Scorpio sun, Capricorn rising, Pisces moon. Especially I think of like the conjunction in the spring next year in your 5th house, that can be coming together with another person. And then he's a lawyer, Leo sun, Scorpio rising. So, you know, for Leo's sun, lots of challenges, obviously, with changes in relationships, but also for Scorpio rising, the oppositions in the 7th house is at a distance, so it's quite literal. I feel like personally, you know, this can mean that you are having some fears coming up with the Devil card and some doubt as to whether or not there will be a reconnection and if it'll be possible for you guys to be able to be together in the future. You'd have to really look at like his chart, and you'd have to go and look at, you know, Venus, which rules his 7th house, and what's going on with Venus. We know that Jupiter and Uranus are on a one-way collision course in his 7th house as a Scorpio rising, which is about big changes in relationships next year. But it can be traveling, which leads to breakthrough in relationships as well. I mean, maybe I'm optimistic, but you know, I feel like this is basically saying for the next 6 months or so, you're really kind of going through a period of potentially having some doubt. And you can overcome that, you can break through that, and find that, you know, fear is not something that can get in the way of being able to achieve some of your long-term goals. And the Strength card is also about letting the right things come to you, not pushing the situation, letting the situation be until you know that it's the right time to connect with somebody, and that they may be more receptive than you think when it comes to, you know, seeing each other again. So I do see both things going well. I just think it's a timing thing, and it's going to take a little bit longer. And you're really being asked, I think you said you're a Pisces rising. You're Capricorn rising. Oh, okay. So the Capricorn rising to, I think, probably be focusing on spending more time actually with yourself, right? You're having eclipses in Aries in the 4th house. So really until about at least spring of next year, you're going to be experiencing that. Hopefully that's helpful for you. I'm curious to see what happens when it comes to reconnecting, because that 6 of Wands looks very promising. We've got Carolina, Matt P, Miss V, and then Hiba. All right, so I've got for Carolina, hey Candace, I'd like to get a 3-card reading for this evening. I'm interested in gaining insight into new challenges I will occur in my career as I'm starting a new job. I'm thankful for this opportunity and that it has finally come after 3 months of being unemployed. My first day at the job promises to be dynamic as it coincides with the next new moon in Scorpio. My astrological details are as follows: Scorpio rising, Sun in Pisces, Moon in Sag. If this isn't too much, Mars and Venus are in Aquarius. I'm just trying to provide you as much information as possible to make the reading easier. Okay, cool. Thank you. I got you. What's up, Moon Pie? So in my mind, what's really interesting is that the new moon that's in Scorpio, it's going to, let's see, so your Scorpio rising 4 degrees. The new moon that's in Scorpio is going to be at 20 degrees. So it'll be in your 1st house. So it's about a fresh start. And that can be for you, for your appearance, that can be for your goals, what have you. And it will be conjunct Mars, which is your chart ruler. So I think the 2 people that are going to be really feeling the new moon in Scorpio the most will be Scorpio risings, obviously, or placements around 20 degrees in Aries risings. When you have a new moon conjunct Mars, it's like, we got to do this now. And it's going to make oppositions in your 7th house, which is relational to other people. So you're adjusting to sudden changes in relationships, meeting new people, working with new people, so on and so forth. When that new moon in Scorpio becomes a full moon, which will be in the spring of 2024, it'll be a full moon at 4 degrees of Scorpio. So it will be right on your ascendant. So something just to kind of put in your back pocket, maybe it's for the useless file. That full moon is very personal for you. And I feel like the new moon is going to be about setting intentions about where you are taking action. Sun is about your career. So you might be like, I have to travel, I got to be active, I have to kind of be more assertive, I have to put myself out there. And then 6 months later, it's going to be very, very personal for you. So let's take a look. Let's see with these cards what they have to say about the new job that's coming up and what insight they can potentially give you. All right, it was in this order. So we got King of Cups, Knight of Wands, and the 10 of Wands. And the confirmation card is the Lovers. Okay, so I don't know what you're doing or the kind of people that you're working with. Sometimes court cards can literally be people. So I don't know if the King of Cups is referencing a water sign and the Knight of Wands is referencing a fire sign, or if this is talking to you personally because you are a Scorpio sun and rising. I see this as, Scorpio rising, Pisces sun. I see this as an opportunity for you with the King of Cups to be like, okay, I'm going to really master my emotions, right? Scorpio rising's not always the easiest for opening up and being vulnerable with people. Maybe it's a little different if you're a Pisces sun. But I could see this as being like open and warm and understanding and like willing to partner with other people. So maybe it's about getting out of your comfort zone and being somebody who's feeling more confident in terms of connecting with other people in your new workspace. This can also be talking about other water signs that come in. So it could be, you know, Cancers or Pisces or Scorpios that are assisting you in some way when it comes to opening up in terms of your new professional moves. Now, Knight of Wands is cool because it says, yes, busy. It can also be very active. There can be a need to be creating with other people, to be learning, to be sharing, to be traveling, like literally being mobile or being busy running around. Generally, Knights bring some sense of messaging, or they can be an indicator of physical movement or change. And Knight of Wands is about being dynamic and being bold and being creative and standing out. So there is a sense of being like, okay, I really need to make a good impression. I'm not just going to be like looking busy. I'm actually going to be productive. And this is about really leaning on your creativity and your sense of, of like action to kind of get things done. And then the final card is the 10 of Wands. So like, I do feel like the job is probably going to be pretty demanding the first, you know, several weeks. I do feel like this is about also giving this some time to settle in for you to not feel overwhelmed, because for me, the energy feels kind of overwhelming, where it's like new people, new job, and then you're like, okay, system overload. There's like way more than usual going on. I also feel like you're coming into a period of time astrologically, being a Scorpio rising over this next month, where you have so many oppositions to your 7th house, whether this is clients, new coworkers, this is relationships where there's going to be a lot of dynamic action with other people. You're going to see other people that are going to be impatient, and they're going to be agitated and annoyed because Mars, Mercury, and the Sun is in your 7th house. So you will be reacting to other people's impatience or agitation or demanding kind of attitudes. And I think the key with Jupiter and, Uranus making the oppositions to Sun, Mercury, and Mars is seeking people who are potentially going to be, patient and educating. Don't get frustrated if you're not catching everything up right away, if you're not catching on immediately. Give yourself some time. Don't rush through things. Don't make any sudden judgments about the job. Like, let the job settle in for a little bit before you decide whether or not you like it or if you're going to stay. I feel like the Lovers card coming up is also saying like there is options and choices. So it means that maybe this is about letting yourself get, kind of comfortable and getting, acclimated with this position before you start feeling like you're learning new ways of doing things. It can also mean that you're making a decision about the job down the road. There might be another opportunity that pops up or another department that pops up that you may feel like is a better suit for you. But I think that the timing of not just the new moon, but just the astrology all month is you wanting to kind of rush through things, and other people are going to be saying, hold on, slow down, take your time, don't rush, and just watch for the friction that can kind of be happening. But if anything, actually, sometimes the King of Cups coming up with the Lovers card can be an indication for like a new relationship that could potentially blossom with another person. So I know you're asking more about work, but I'm wondering, like, do you get in it and then realize like, wow, this is a lot, but then you connect with somebody that is encouraging you or empowering you, or they're training you, or somebody who you develop some kind of like relationship with that makes you go, okay, I'm going to stay and I'm going to kind of like work through this, right? So watch for the helping hands. Stay patient and give it a chance. The Lovers card does deal with Gemini, so that can be indicating until closer about the Gemini full moon to kind of really fully get a feel for this new position. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work. But congrats on getting a new job. That's awesome. Okay, so we've got Matt P, Miss V, Hiba. All right, so Matt says, is there anything Emma wants to say to me or want me to know? My name is Kurt in the chat. All right, we got you, Kurt. You're welcome. So is there anything that Emmy wants to say to me or wants me to know? In this order. So we've got the Queen of Swords, the Hangman, and the Temperance. Why do I get the impression, and not because of your question, it's more the cards. Why do I get the impression that somebody is holding back and not saying the complete truth, or not, you know, giving you the full picture? They're not like telling you everything. Because the Queen of Swords is a communicator, right? She masters communication. It can also be somebody who's like a Libra or an Aquarius or a Gemini. But generally it's somebody who is really direct with communication. They give you a piece of their mind. They tell you exactly what they're thinking. They're very bold and kind of courageous. That, coupled with the Hangman and the Temperance card, can indicate having a sense of pause and reflection before saying something, taking time before reaching out to you and telling you what they're thinking or how they're feeling, waiting for the most opportune time. Temperance can be about patience and planning and waiting for all the right pieces to come together. It's almost as if somebody's like, you know, I told him that I just needed some time and I would get back to him, or that I needed to think about it before giving him an answer. Or, you know, maybe you're having a situation where somebody's not communicating with you, they're not responding, and you're like, what the heck is going on? And this person's looking like they're trying to make a decision, or they're trying to decide whether or not they want to reach out and either try to, you know, fix a relationship, or they're wanting to reach out and kind of let you know what they've been thinking about and where they've been holding back. For me, holding back would be the Hangman and the Temperance for two different reasons. Hangman is because they simply don't know, or they're feeling at a loss, or maybe they're afraid of not having control over the situation. They're feeling stuck. You know, they can be in a cycle of self-undoing. This is a card that's about Neptune and not knowing how to communicate efficiently. And then the Temperance card is talking about, you know, waiting and stalling a little bit until the most opportune moment. So there can be a sense of overthinking something right now and like not knowing how to communicate with you or tell you how they're feeling, so they're just not doing it at all. Thinking about being like an Aries rising and, you know, having Venus, your 7th house ruler, going through Virgo in your 6th house, it is showing you where there is relationship lack, or lack of somebody being able to be self-sufficient, or lack of somebody being able to take the necessary steps to make you feel supported. The positive is that as Venus goes through the 6th house for you and it opposes Neptune, you're like, okay, I'm not getting what I need, but at the same time, I'm still open. You know, how can I be of service to them? How can I help them? How can I kind of bring them out of their shell? Venus going into your 7th house is going to be better timing for relationships. Venus will also come into contact with the South Node at the end of the month. So there can be this feeling of like somebody finally kind of coming back around after a period of not hearing anything. But I feel intuitively that this person might be a little bit either mentally, because of the swords, stressed and feeling like they're kind of in between a rock and a hard place and trying to either figure out to tell you whether or not they're in or out, or trying to tell you something they've been going through. Maybe they're trying to heal something like personally behind the scenes, and it can be stress, mental health, or anxiety related. It can also be about like getting a situation balanced out. Like sometimes the Hangman and the Temperance card is about somebody hiding or concealing or keeping quiet about a mental health related issue, a substance related issue, a health related issue, and not really wanting to reveal what's going on, which would totally make sense with Venus in your 6th house, because that's the 12th house to your partners. So where are they kind of hiding, holding back, or, you know, dealing with bad patterns in regards to their health or their relationship habits that's keeping you from, you know, being aware of what's actually going on? The confirmation card that I get for you is the 7 of Wands, which is about standing your ground. It might mean that you're kind of waiting and you're preparing yourself to, you know, hear from them and give them a response. It might mean that you're really adamant about, you know, staying connected and wanting to make them feel supported and not just letting them walk away and not having closure. So there can be a sense of being like, okay, at least tell me what's going on. Don't just cut me out. Let me know what's happening, so that way I can at least know that you're okay. Because I don't really get the impression that you're just going to want to let this go, you know? hopefully that's helpful. Looks like she's struggling with some stuff though that has nothing to do with you, and I would definitely maybe meditate and, you know, send some positive intentions on her being able to at least be confident enough to reach out and give you some clarity, because it looks like it's something that she's trying to kind of keep private. Hopefully that's helpful for you. What's up, Vanessa? I can see you there. I'll give you a roll call of who I have here. So we've got Miss V, Hiba, Matt V, Rachel, Brenda, Jessica, Travis, Brandon, Tissa, Omar, Felicia, Elaine, Mary, Amanda, Kimberly, Vanessa, and Angeline. So Vanessa, you're going to be probably about an hour. All right, so we've got Miss V. You're welcome, Kurt. Miss V says, will my husband be promoted at work by the end of the year? Let's take a look. Will they be promoted by the end of the year? Oh, the Tower. Crossed with the Five of Pentacles. That is most likely going to be a no. And, you know, it's interesting because the Tower for me, I see that with like Mars transits, Uranus transits, timing wise. Okay, Aries rising, I was going to say. You know, he's got his sun in the 8th house, and he's got Mars, his ruling planet, going through the 8th house, and it's going to come into an opposition with Uranus. I was about to be like, I bet it's the Mars-Uranus opposition. I'm going to give you a specific time frame to watch for. So because he's an Aries rising ruled by Mars and a Scorpio, the timing of November 11th through the 15th can definitely be a lot of him hearing more about what is or is not coming in. Maybe he hears that they're issuing layoffs for certain people, or that they're cutting back on bonuses, or that they're having a delay before they give promotions. Maybe it's like, you know, you say to him, like, I don't think it's going to be this month, maybe next month. But that transit in particular really kind of triggers his chart coming up here about finding out the truth as to whether or not there's going to be some kind of development. I only bring up the astrology because this for me is like a Mars or a Uranus card. The Tower is being like, we were hoping that something was going to happen, putting our hope and intention into like building something. And then when the Tower comes up, it's like, you thought this was going to happen, and then, you know, the universe has other plans. It can be about toppling or leveling something. It's ironic because he just had an eclipse that was in his 2nd house. But that eclipse is going to be in conjunction to Jupiter at 5 degrees really until the new year. Intuitively, I feel like he's going to want to watch the Mercury retrograde that's going to be happening in mid-December through January. And that when you see that Mercury retrograde in his 10th house, and it's going to be trining Jupiter and Uranus, you guys are going to be hearing more about the fact that there may be opportunities to make more money. It's being like reorganized or reassessed or restructured, or they're looking at budgets. And you might be hearing more about that in the new year. I don't think it's going to be before Christmas, especially looking at these cards, because the confirmation card is the Five of Pentacles. So it is saying like, you know, there is some disappointment revolving around getting this bonus. Five of Pentacles is being like, what the heck? You know, like thinking you're going to get it and then not getting it, or being told that it's coming and then finding out that there's going to be a delay. And knowing his astrology as well, you know, that's, I'm going to double down on that. What you will find though is an opportunity to kind of remedy that. And it does seem like it might get a little bit easier, both in mid-December through January. And then I could also see like when Venus goes through his 10th house, the end of January, beginning of February, those are better times when you're looking at, you know, possibly being able to get a raise or getting better benefits. Okay. Circle back, let me know. But my guess is it's closer to the beginning of January. Hopefully that's helpful for you. We've got Hiba, the Aries. They say, I'm graduating in January from economics and coding, living in Sweden and starting to apply for jobs that start in January, February. I had already applied for one in Denmark as I wish to change the area. I have a job that allows me to travel. A wish but not necessary is the best thing. Can I get any advice on the direction I should focus on as to where to apply and what sort of job could give me my best profit financially, personally? Thanks a lot. Lots of love to you and your team. All right, so let's take a look. So you're living in Sweden and you're applying for jobs that start in the new year. Applied for Denmark. Okay, so advice in the direction I should go in applying for best profit professionally and personally. So are you looking for a specific place? Like, are you asking me about a specific place or just what to watch for? Okay, so this is the cards that I get. Whoa, so I definitely think that relocating for work or working in another area or working and traveling is like on not just on the table, that seems to be the direction that it's going to be going in. So if you're looking for jobs that are going to allow you to relocate, yes. If you're looking for jobs that are going to allow you to travel, yes. In fact, there might be an opportunity for you to do a little bit of traveling before you relocate. You know, the two major cards that are coming up are the Magician and the Chariot. So the Magician talks about intention, manifestation, setting your goals, making your ideas or your dreams a reality, being able to manifest it into the third dimension. So what I like with the Magician is it starts with the idea that's like, I want a new job and I want a job that allows me to travel, or it gives me these benefits, or I make X amount of money in my salary, or whatever. It's about really focusing more on the qualities that you're going to be getting within the new position and really setting your intentions like very clear to, you know, make those things kind of show up. The Chariot talks about getting all your ducks in a row. So it does talk about movement. It talks about relocating. Sometimes this is a card that comes up with physical movement. But this can also be saying like there can be so much that's happening very rapidly and it'll happen like all at once unexpectedly. So you may find that you're applying for jobs and they're like, great, can you like move this month, or can you start traveling at the end of the week? Like it might be something out of the blue. If I should stay where I am, which lets me travel or locate. What's going to happen here personally is I think that, you know, there will be opportunities to relocate, but it's going to be closer to April, March and April. Just knowing you're you know, an Aries, you know, a lot of these eclipse energies are going to be bringing that up for you. And you're still at the end of 2024 going to have a retrograde in your 4th house. So you can either choose to relocate in April or you can choose to relocate at the end of the year. I personally feel like, you know, the 7 of Wands makes me feel like you're holding out for the best offer, or you're looking for something that's going to give you the most versatility, or it's going to give you the most seniority. This is about like standing your ground, coming out on top, being somebody who's very competitive in the field. None of these cards make me feel like it's about staying in one place. These cards make me feel like it's about moving. So if you're open to moving, the opportunity will be presented to you, although I don't think you'll take it until later in the year. But you're definitely going to be taking on a position that's going to allow you to travel more. Already applied for one in Denmark. That's me to travel. Okay, so I'm not really understanding your question. So advice in the direction that you should focus on where to apply and what sort of job to give me the best profit personally and financially. So in terms of, you know, the jobs that you're applying for, it would be ones that are telling you flat out that you're going to travel. It would be ones that are telling you flat out that it's going to be a grind, or that it's going to be very competitive, or that they offer competitive pay, or that they are hoping to work with people who want to grow within the company. I don't really see this as, you know, taking on a position with a company that has a lot of turnover. The Magician card can also be about somebody who is overseeing things as a whole. So it can be somebody who's looking at different departments, or they're looking at other things. Can these cards tell anything about economic or coding or something else? Well, personally, I feel like, you know, I see the Magician and the 7 of Wands being somebody who's looking more at patterns and strategy, not necessarily coding. To me, this is like somebody who's going to be able to pick up patterns, and they're going to see where things are going, and they can kind of predict and really tap in also with their intuition to have a better understanding of like economic trends. Especially because the Chariot is about being able to kind of see the ebbs and flows of things. Not that that wouldn't be with code, but I don't really see that being the case. Let me look at the confirmation card. Three of Pentacles. So for me, that would be the confirmation. Like if it was code, I would see like a bunch of swords coming up, or I would see, you know, the Hierophant, or I would see somebody. Yeah, for me, this seems more kind of like the economic direction. Three of Pentacles is the confirmation, is also talking about, once again, working in a position where they're either wanting to promote within, or they're wanting to like build a team, or they're wanting to invest time in somebody and like really training somebody who's gonna stay there and go the distance and be there for a longer period of time. Not that there's anything wrong with either position, but to me it seems like there's going to be more longevity and more capability of you being able to travel going with this particular, you know, kind of profession. And like I said, the Magician card is saying there needs to be a focus on what you're hoping to achieve. So it's not, is it this job or is it that job? It's sitting down and being like, this is the salary that I want. This is the amount of travel that I want. These are the benefits that I want. This is how often I want to work, and create your outline of your intentions for what you're hoping to manifest within the position. Likely what will manifest very quickly, which is the Chariot, is something that you're going to be like, I got to make a move. I got to do this now. That comes out of the blue, and it'll check off all of the boxes of the things that you're manifesting. And you will probably look at, you know, within the matter of weeks, starting a new position. Three of Pentacles is about kind of getting your firm footing in something and like learning the routines. So there can be a period of you training, or, you know, having to do one-on-one with somebody for a couple of months before you're finally able to kind of go your own way. Okay. Very positive, some of the changes that are coming though. And I like that this Seven of Wands makes me feel like you're going to be in a situation where you're going up against a number of other people who are like other applicants, and it may be like a very sought after position. But that's also about standing out, you know, apart from some of the other people that are applying. Hopefully that's helpful for you. We've got Matthew V. So Matt says, hello again. So you're reading about going to the concert with my ex-boyfriend was so accurate. I ended up reaching out to him. He was very nice about it, extremely accommodating. We went and spent the whole day together, and it was really nice. We texted a little bit after too. My question this time around is, I guess, where the energy stands between us now. Will we be able to maintain this friendship? Is it something that he's really willing to do? Will we eventually get back together, or kind of drift apart and move on? Thanks again. You are very welcome. Let's see, Matt, what the cards say for you in this order. So we've got Four of Cups, the Hermit card, and the Justice card. Kind of not number of people pulling two majors at a time. That's interesting. So we've got Four of Cups, which is kind of starting the reading off as being like, I'm not sure if he's interested. I kind of get the impression that he's kind of like, he could take it or leave it. He could go back or he could go forth. And I do feel like this is talking about the past experiences of not really being able to kind of read the situation with this person, or you're feeling that, you know, they're not necessarily making the effort, but if you do, they'll like reciprocate. So you're a Cancer rising and he's a Sag rising. Okay, cool. Got it. One thing I want to say before I forget what you just told me is, you know, Mercury will go retrograde in your 7th house. So you'll see that mid-December through January, and Mercury rules your 12th house and your 3rd. So that mid-December through January can be a period where you're having conversations with somebody who you're in a relationship with, and like the truth comes out about how they were feeling, whether or not they're open, if you guys can like reconnect. The Hermit card is interesting because he's a Virgo, right? And so this is the card that's dealing with Virgo. And it can be saying that this is a period of like pause and reflect. So maybe he's taking time on his own to kind of feel things out and see, does he miss you? Does he want to reconnect? Does he want to spend time with you? The Hermit card can also be talking about, you know, needing time by himself to kind of figure things out and decide whether or not a relationship is for him. I don't know the conversation that you guys had, if there was any like reasoning behind it, but sometimes when this card comes up, it's somebody who's like, it's not that there's anything wrong with you, but them going, I just don't have the time or the space in my life right now for a relationship, or I've got X, Y, and Z going on. Like, I don't know how to create that space for someone. Could it be that they're making excuses? Maybe, especially for a Sag rising right now. There can definitely be a lot of excuses being made as to why they're not showing up in relationships. But I think that the Hermit card is like they have to figure that out on their own. So regardless, that time that you guys have not physically being together in a relationship or not seeing each other, it can be positive because it can give him a bit of like a time to really reflect and see whether or not the relationship isn't working because he's not making an effort. Then we have the Justice card, which is about restoring balance in relationships, give and take, karmic effects, and whether or not you guys are meant to kind of come back together. In my mind, Justice being in the final position does tell me that you're going to have to ask yourself, moving forward, do you want to be the person who's going to be initiating, doing things? Because the Justice card is being like, look, relationships are a two-way street, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship. It can't be one person calling the other and the other person not calling them back. You guys have to both equally be bringing something to the table to justify being like, yeah, this is worth working on this friendship or working on this relationship. I do feel like this is about things getting balanced outside of you. That's like, look, if they're meant to kind of realize, hey, my life was a little bit more fulfilled, or, maybe I am feeling lonely, I need to, reach out to that person and reconnect with them, they will, and they'll come back to you. But I also feel like there can be this really clear indication where like the skills are imbalanced. So you're going to have to kind of look at what's going on, especially specifically, this is referencing from Virgo through Libra season. So look at what's been happening like August, September, October. The confirmation card is the Seven of Wands. So that does make me feel like there can be a sense of you being more protective of your energy and not just feeling like, it's all you doing the work, or that it's you pushing for the relationship, or, anything like that. Because I feel like you are going to get into a situation where if this person feels as if you're being pushy or that you keep reaching out to them, they're going to get a little sensitive. They're going to get a little defensive. There is a possibility that could definitely be happening with the Seven of Wands. Friendship, sure. Yeah, I could definitely see friendship. None of like the relationship cards are coming up. And I think really what it's saying is before it gets to that point, there needs to be a sense of really assessing and asking yourself, is this person being a good friend? Do they just want to be left alone? Do they not have time or space for a friendship or a relationship right now? Feel it out and see how it goes. Better part of like the next, I would say 4 to 7 weeks. So like the next month and a half. And I know intuitively that the retrograde in your 7th house can actually give you a confirmation one way or the other, or a conversation one way or the other, to let you know where they're coming from so you can make better decisions moving forward. But I definitely feel like, yeah, friendship's definitely something that you guys can do, but you want to make sure that it's fair and it's balanced. Because something about this Hermit card, I don't know if it's the Sag rising. I don't know if it's that Saturn is in opposition to their sun. It is very possible that they are feeling like there's so many home and responsibility things going on, or family things or emotional things, that it's impacting them and keeping them from being able to be in relationship with other people, and they're having a difficult time kind of letting people in on that. And that could be the case both for Virgo and for Sag rising. Hopefully that's helpful. What's up, Blue Crystal Ann? Happy birthday. Happy birthday. It is Scorpio season. Anybody else's birthday coming up? Anybody have their birthday around the new moon? We've got Rachel Brenda and Jessica Solis. Rachel says, card for a specific person from my past. Ooh, let's do it. Card for a specific person from my past. You're welcome, Matt. There's the Justice card again. Can I just let everybody know, it's Libra season, okay? Still, Venus is about to go into Libra. So even though all these planets are in Scorpio, we are still going to see Venus, the South Node ruler, come into Libra, and it'll eventually at the end of the month come into contact with the South Node. So there's a lot of people that are going to be like, is this relationship working? Is it not? And while we have placements in Scorpio and placements in Taurus, we are asking ourselves, am I finally ready to walk away from this thing? It could be money, it could be habits, it could be relationships. And a lot of people are having to come to grips with, okay, if I let this thing go, you know, am I safe? Am I secure? So there's so much like relationship stuff going on right now. Anyway, for you, Rachel, I shuffled, and picked and still got the Justice card. So I'm not surprised. This card's probably still going to come up some more tonight. I do think that really what this card talks about is justice being served. And this isn't like a negative thing. This isn't like a karmic thing. Although some might say, you know, justice can be about karmic retribution. I think this is about you weighing your options and being like, do I want to go back to that person? Is this a fair exchange? Am I supposed to be with this person? Am I doing the right thing? Is it the right thing for me to be like, no, that person stays in the past, I'm shutting the door? The confirmation card that I got for you was the Wheel of Fortune. So it can be saying that maybe, just maybe, in the past, the timing was off. And maybe you're not totally thrilled about how this relationship or this connection with this person in your past went down. Maybe you're waiting for the opportune time or moment for the scales to be readjusted to be able to connect with this person at the right time. I do feel like fate kind of comes into the mix with the Wheel of Fortune, and the Justice card is saying like fateful connections with people, that if you're feeling like you're reconnecting, running into them, you know, them reaching back out to you, there can be a sense of that Wheel of Fortune of being like, look, the timing may be better now than it was in the past. And I know that Justice is a card that deals with Libra, but I mean, look at this card. Like, you've got fire, flames, angels, you know, you've got the sword, which represents intelligence and higher knowledge. The scales, which is basically saying whether you like it or not, we're going to be making decisions that are going to be more intellectually based. That's going to be about justice and fairness, karma, law, but it's not really so much about the heart space. So this might be about making decisions that make sense, more on a logical kind of like wavelength, not like responding to something emotionally. But I also feel like I would be asking myself, like, why this time? Why this person? Why would this person come back around? Some people are going to be tested, I think, with Venus conjunct the South Node in Libra, because Venus Libra is beautiful and it's attractive and it's comfortable, but it's going to be like, do I want to stay there, or do I want to go more into the North Node? And with Mars right now in Scorpio, we want to go more into the North Node. It's saying in order to achieve this new rebirth energy, we have to be willing to go places that are scary or require us to cut something off or sever or heal something that we've been kind of keeping in the dark, right? Timing is a big factor in this one, Rachel. And I think that it's at least worth exploring. Good luck. I've got Brenda, Jessica, Travis, Sasha. Okay. I guess I should say Jillian. I see two different names, so sorry, I guess Jillian. Please tell me about my partner. Is he sleeping with the neighbor? Oh, can you guys tell it's Scorpio season? Can you? All right, let's take a look. Let's see. Is their partner sleeping with the neighbor? This is the card that I want. Eight of Pentacles crossed with Seven of Cups. I don't know if you're watching this live right now. I don't know if you're Brenda or Jillian. Eight of Pentacles is not like a sexy card. It's not like doing something with the neighbor card, in my opinion. I'm going to run through a couple of things that I'm thinking about looking at this. It's like, do you see your partner like fixing things for them, or, you know, is somebody asking for help with something? Are they like tinkering around in their garage? Like, is there stuff like that going on? Because the Eight of Pentacles can be, what do you need something? What do you need help with? Yeah, I can, you know, hang that thing up for you or whatever. And it could quite literally be about work and assistance. It doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, it has to be something sexual or romantic. Seven of Cups being the confirmation card is being like, this can be getting overwhelmed and assuming things are going on that it may look a certain way, and perhaps there is a maybe jumping to conclusions. Seven of Cups is they could be doing this, they could be doing that, and sure they could be, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are. So it's about reconsidering or reevaluating how something looks and whether or not that's actually what they're doing. The Eight of Pentacles can also be somebody who's like, hey, I'm, having to work late, or I'm working on something right now, or I'm out working on the lawn, and they go missing, and then you're like, they must be with the neighbor, like, I'm not really getting that impression with these cards. I feel like this is about looking at things being like, okay, they seem preoccupied with something. Why are they so preoccupied? What's going on there? But they might be preoccupied with things that are just around the house, or other things that they're doing, or they're working, or they're out, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're with a person. Maybe the Devil coming up, or the Three of Cups, or maybe, other cards, maybe, but no. Seven of Cups makes me more concerned that there is potentially jumping to conclusions and making assumptions, when in reality it's saying this is about making you aware that there is a need to sit down and really work on something. So some of this might be about being like, well, why are you spending so much time, off doing something else? Why aren't you communicating with me and telling me what you're doing? Like, I'm, feeling kind of weird that you're keeping me in the dark about where you are. And also working on the relationship and being like, I don't want my mind jumping to this, to this potential situation. Like, can we sit down and talk about it? Because I'm feeling like we have some things to work out. It can be giving you the opportunity to kind of fine tune and work on the relationship, so you're not, assuming, worst case scenario, right? So I'm confident to let you know, I don't think that is happening. Not that I think that's funny, but I hope that gives you a little bit of confirmation. We've got LZ and Rama Lama. Give me a second, guys. So, Michelle, what was your first name? At least on PayPal. And then LZ, Mary. No, Michelle, I have not done your reading yet. You are still several people away. We have not done your reading yet. And Mary, we have not done your reading yet. You guys have to listen. I'll call your name. I'll call them 3 people at a time. So we've got Jessica, Travis, and then Michelle. And Sasha's in there too. So we've got Jessica, Sasha, Travis, and Michelle. Sasha, can I get your question if you didn't already send it? All right, so we've got Jessica. Jessica S. says, what's coming towards me? Let's take a look. What's coming towards me? There we go, 4 of Cups. Combined with the 8 of Pentacles. There it is. 4 of Cups is making me kind of feel like, where is there a sense of you feeling like left out? 4 of Cups can be disappointed, or feeling like there's some challenges that are coming up, in a sense of feeling optimistic, loved, positive, and excited potentially about, the future. Especially the Cups can be about relationships. It can be about harmony. It can be about emotions. Are there some disappointments that are coming up right now where you're feeling like you're not quite hitting some of your goals, and it's kind of taking the wind out of your sails a little bit? 8 of Pentacles is the confirmation card. So this can be about whether or not you're feeling like you're making headway financially, whether or not you feel like you're making headway professionally. There can be a sense also of feeling like you're having to put a lot of work into feeling fulfilled, or feeling happy, or feeling like accomplished. When this card comes up, I'm always really quick to ask somebody what's missing. Do you feel like there's something missing in your life that would provide more balance? Because in this card, you see that he's at a party, and there's people celebrating all around him, and there is a sense of nothing really exciting him. He's just kind of yeah, whatever. This isn't really enticing for me to participate in this party or the celebration. So what is it that's missing for you right now? Or are you realizing that there is a need for you to work a little bit harder to be able to bring things into your life that's going to be feeling more fulfilling? But specifically, this could be work or relationship related. I also get the feeling that with that 8 of Pentacles, there is a sense of being like overwhelmed and feeling like you're having to put a lot of effort into this situation where you're feeling unfulfilled, and you're kind of going like, okay, I keep trying and I'm not really seeing a change. 8 of Pentacles can be about repetition. So it can be about doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. And you're like, okay, I'm doing the same thing over and over again and it's not yielding any results. So really it's about looking at the situation, stepping back and being like, okay, I need to do something different. What have I been doing? What routine have I been doing? How can I shake it up a little bit? And that can be in terms of relationships, finances, or career. Oh, there we go. Looking to change my living situation within the next year, but I need advice on where, with who, Pisces sun. Okay, cool. Thank you. I also feel like, you know, something about that 4 of Cups is also potentially about disappointment. This can be about disappointment about something not going the way that you want it to go. So it can be giving you that heads up that's like, hey, if you're potentially making changes in regards to your finances or your work right now, don't get disgruntled and get agitated, or don't give up just because you hit a speed bump, right? In the traditional Rider-Waite, you see, you know, the 4 of Cups is, you know, him kind of standing there, and the 3 of Cups are kind of spilled over, and then there's that 1 cup that's being offered to him in the background. And really what that's saying is, if you get so wrapped up in the things that aren't working, you can't really see what is working. And it's hard for you to kind of count your blessings or see what's in front of you, or new relationship opportunities that can be in front of you as well, okay? So be mindful of that. Maybe switching up your routine a little bit can be really helpful. We have got Sasha, Travis, Michelle, Brandon. Thank you, Sasha. Yeah, this is the Victorian Tarot, Victorian Romantic deck. I think this is the 3rd edition. I'm not sure which edition this is. I have all of them. This is what it looks like. So we've got Sasha, who says, looking to change my living situation within the next year, but I need advice on where, with, and who. I'm a Pisces sun, Pisces rising. Yeah, sounds like definitely you need advice with where, with, and who. If you've got Saturn and Neptune in your sign, you're like, where am I going? What am I doing? All right, so let's take a look. Let's see if we can help Sasha get some advice on making moves, on whether or not she should be with roommates or living alone, or will there be a new love interest. I will tell you, in the next year, the astrology gets kind of interesting for Pisces risings, right? Because you're going to have Jupiter, your traditional chart ruler, go into Gemini. So it's going to be in your 4th house, which means you could be going back and forth between 2 places or 2 homes. You're playing with the idea of going, you know, they're choosing between 2 options. Jupiter obviously also represents Sagittarius, which is your 10th house. So it can be about responsibility of your home, going back home with family, moving back to places that you've been in the past. And so you'll see next year in 2024, you know, Jupiter in your 4th house, expanding your home. It'll square Saturn in your 1st. So you're going to have to make decisions about, do I want to keep moving around and having options and choices? Do I want to keep dealing with people who are, you know, not so reliable when it comes to roommates? Do I want to be bopping around a little bit, or do I want to stay put? So let's see what the cards say for you. This is for Sasha. In this order. Okay, so we've got Ace of Pentacles, 5 of Wands, and the Temperance card. So that seems to kind of indicate, you know, first of all, Ace of Pentacles is about physical, financial changes. It can be home changes, but it can also be stuff revolving or relating to money. So I also know, as a Pisces rising, you know, you're having eclipses and the North Node now in Aries in your 2nd house, which means more financial responsibility, trying to make your own way. There can be a sense of you focusing more on, you know, how much more you can make. I think about the eclipses, especially in the spring of next year, and it can be about taking on more responsibility with your finances. It equally will go hand in hand with an eclipse in your 8th house of Libra. So it can mean that You're breaking away from sharing resources with other people, and you're going more in the direction of being more independent on your own. So that could be in the spring of next year. The Ace of Pentacles also talks about a 1-year cycle. So it's interesting that I do feel like there could be a move in this next year, and then there could be a change again, especially when Jupiter and Saturn come out of square. The position of the 5 of Wands right now is a little challenging because it's saying that you might feel conflicted about doing one thing or the other, and that there is a sense of like either feeling like there's been conflict or there's been challenges. I think of like the fall of this last year that you had going into the beginning of 2023, a Mars retrograde in your 4th house. So likely there was like a lot of strife in the home or the living situation. So maybe you're kind of reflecting on this being like, things have been really challenging. When is it going to be the best time for me to make a move, or, you know, for me to, you know, get into my own space where there's like more peace and tranquility. The Temperance card is talking about timing. So if you're wanting to be on your own, I mean, you're really going to have to look at your chart. You're going to have to look at transits that are going on to your 7th house Lord. So you need to look at your natal Mercury and what's going on with transits to Mercury. That'll give you an idea of relationships developing. But this is talking about planning and taking your time and not rushing into a situation, not rushing into a situation where there's going to be challenges or conflict with people that you're going to be living with, but also like knowing when to make moves. In my mind, I think of like the eclipses that you're going to be having in the spring, and it's going to be like end of March, April, and then May, and then you're going to see Jupiter go into your 4th house in June. If you can wait that long, that would be better. If you can't wait that long and you have a Pisces rising, then what you really want to be paying attention to is the Mercury retrograde. That's going to be mid-December through January. It's going to go through your 11th house of friends. It's going to help you kind of connect with a group of people that maybe you could live with, or maybe you could be doing like a sublease or a temporary space until you get to spring of next year, because timing seems to be very important. Now, the confirmation card that I got for you is the 10 of Cups, or excuse me, the 10 of Pentacles. So this is a money card. And it's interesting that you start with the ace and then you get to the 10. So there's like some kind of like cycle in this next year of being like, where am I going to get the most bang for my buck? You know, what am I doing with my money? What's going to be the best for me financially? Where am I going to feel like I'm most comfortable? And also this is creating an incentive to be working hard to bring the things that you want in. Now, what else is cool is next year, Jupiter in Gemini will sextile the North Node in Aries. So you're going to have Jupiter in your 4th house sextiling the North Node in your 2nd. So it's being like, I'm working hard because I'm maybe I'm living by myself. So I would recommend looking to do something either temporary or doing something that can kind of tie you over maybe until the spring, to where the finances are actually really providing and you have more of a capability of living on your own. And it does look like the 10 of Pentacles might also be about like saving money and not being like, you know, putting a bunch of money out. In the meantime, right now, it's like saving and trying to kind of like live within your means. So that way, when you get to that point in the spring, you're going to have more, you know, liquid money that you can kind of be using for, you know, down payments, deposits, moving expenses, that kind of stuff. But watch with the timing, because if you rush into stuff, there can be some challenges and some conflict. I hope that that's helpful for you. We've got Travis, Brandon, Michelle, and Tissa. All right, so Travis says, my birthday is 11/13/1990. What's in store for me in 2024? Well, thank you for your birth information. I just see that you're a Scorpio. I don't know your sun, moon, or rising, but that's okay. Let's take a look. Let's ask the cards. What's in store for Travis in this next year? In this order, like 7 of Wands has come up a lot, huh? That Mars energy is hot. Thank you, Travis. Scorpio rising. Well, we've got King of Swords, the Knight of Cups, and the 7 of Wands. For me, this is like really tapping into intellect, communication, ideas, sharing, you know, writing, publishing, teaching, showing up and really showing the world like what's on your mind and being really confident in sharing some of the stuff and getting the point across. I wonder if this is a combination of, transits that are opposing your sun. Currently, if you're born on the 13th, that means that Uranus is transiting through your 7th house. So it's changing up your relationships. It's in opposition to your sun. So there's radical changes going on with your relationships, with your career, with your status, because the sun rules your 10th house. And you may feel like you don't have control over things, but what you do feel like you have control over is how you think, how you communicate, and what you have to tell people. So there can be this opportunity this year through sudden dramatic changes with career relationships for you to like really figure out who you are. The King of Swords is also somebody who is very fierce. So he realizes that words can do damage, but they can also empower. So this might be a year where you're really focusing on changing the way that you think about relationships or think about what you're doing professionally. There can be help that can come from air signs. So Aquariuses, Libras, and Geminis can also be a part of that mix. Being a Scorpio rising too, Pluto's now direct in your 3rd house. So it can be about you realizing that everything comes from how you communicate and how you think, which is very much King of Swords. So I wonder if you're learning a new program, if you're setting up an online business, if you're creating social media, if you're trying to figure out a way of being able to streamline ways for people to be able to hear you or see you, that can be part of the transit as well. Then we have the Nine of Cups in the current position. So this is saying relationships are possible this year. Being more open and optimistic, romantic, sensitive, receptive, lots of opportunity to fall in love, but also to be more expressive. This is about learning to listen to your intuition as well. Knights are dedicated to their cause, so they're going to take action in their element. And the Knight of Cups is about going after what you find the most beautiful, or going after what your feelings or your gut intuition hunches are telling you, going after certain relationships. This can also be about kind of getting in touch with your more dreamy, whimsical nature. So you might be feeling a little bit more inspired and creative as well. And there can be relationships that can be had with fellow water signs. And then we have the Seven of Wands coming up. So this can be also a year where you're feeling like you have to stand your ground. My birthday's on the 11th of November, and I've had Uranus in opposition to my sun for the last year and a half. So I can tell you one thing that transit has taught me is that other people can act suddenly very erratic and really difficult to deal with, or very challenging. And the sun in Scorpio is about shining a light on your shadow self. And sometimes what you'll find is that some of the challenges or the conflict that's coming from other people with this transit puts the pressure on you to change or transform in some way, or to be willing to get outside of your own way, or to really look at shadow related things. So I think something that you might be confronted with is potentially confrontation, challenges, standing your ground, standing up for yourself. Definitely the sun represents ego. So when Uranus opposes your sun, you're going to have somebody who's going to be challenging something about your ego or your control. And I also think that having the sun in the 1st house is very strong. Your birthday is going to be on a new moon, and this new moon is in conjunction to Mars, which is your chart ruler, which means you're setting intentions, not just for the new moon, but on your birthday, which is very powerful to be this is what I'm going after all year long. It might be that you're more physically active. It might mean that you have a whole list of things that you're hoping to achieve, that you're wanting to initiate and start. It might mean that you're starting a new physical, routine, something like that. But Seven of Wands is very connected to that energy. It's you're not backing down. You won't take no for an answer. You really want to get active. You want to hold your own. You want to defend yourself. And this is also about not letting other people push you around. And what you'll find with the transits revolving around your birthday, the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, the activations of, the sun, Mercury, Mars in opposition to Uranus is very strong. So there can be a sense of getting provoked or provoking other people. My advice is have an outlet for some of this energy. Sit down on your birthday. I would say this to anybody having a new moon on their birthday. Write out all of your intentions for the year ahead. Really focus on your goals. Make it about you, not about other people. Wrap it up, put it in envelopes, set it somewhere, and then in a year, open it up. And see that over this past or this incoming year, all of those things should have, for the most part, kind of manifested. New moons, we plant new seeds. First house, it's about yourself. With Mars, it's about where you're taking some kind of swift action. And to me, it looks like you're focusing more on being inspired and allowing yourself to maybe show a different side of yourself in how you communicate, share, and like connect with other people. So that seems to be like the focus for the year ahead. Good luck. Also, you're turning 33, so that's a big career year too, by the way. Huge career year. That's an annual perfection 10. So you'll see the solar eclipses are going to be big for your career, and you're going to see lots of action in regards to your career next summer. All right, so we got Michelle, Brandon, Tissa, and Omar. There we go. So Michelle, I've got you now. And Michelle says, Gemini Sun, Sag Rising, Aries Moon, 60 years old, retired, single, been in a dark place for a bit. Anything positive ahead? Let's take a look. Let's see. Definitely been a little challenging for those mutables. Sagittarius Rising, Gemini Sun. Saturn has been in your 4th house, which is heavy emotions, heavy moods, isolated, dealing with home and family, feeling alone. And it's the focal point of a square between your ascendant in Sagittarius and your Gemini Sun in the 12th house, which is about relationships. Let's take a look. Let's see what the cards have to say about what advice they can be giving while you're in this. These are the cards that I get for you. 6 of Pentacles, 4 of Pentacles, and the Devil. What's the deal? You have some delays or some setbacks with some of your work stuff. The 6 of Pentacles represents the give and take, and maybe this means that you're really reflecting on the past and where you have been very generous with other people. I mean, it's hard for you not to be if you have Sun in the 7th house. Or putting an emphasis on others or on siblings or on relationships. And now that Saturn's coming into that square, in a karmic way, it's kind of checking you, being like, okay, if you're taking care of other people, you know, who's helping take care of you? If you're tending to other people, who's also kind of supporting you? And as Saturn squares the ascendant, it also can have an impact on your physical body. It can have an impact on your mood. Obviously, you know, when we see Sag risings, you guys are generally pretty positive, you're pretty optimistic, but the Saturn square can have you really reevaluating like who's got your back, right? In the current position, we have the 4 of Pentacles, which means like assessing the situation, but not wanting to let certain things go. Maybe it can mean that you're having a difficult time like with grief or forgiveness or like letting certain relationships or letting certain things from your past go. I think about Saturn and Neptune being in your 4th house, and that this can really be a reflection of reflecting on the past and family and like lineage and like root related issues and dissolving some of that stuff, dissolving some karmic issues that you might be having with relationships. Sun in the 7th house can mean that you have some open challenges or open enemies with siblings, particularly like brothers or aunts or uncles or siblings. And I think Saturn coming into the square is feeling a lack of support from some of these people, maybe feeling like you're kind of been left on your own to deal with stuff. And I think the 4 of Pentacles is like really referencing where you're like, do I hold on to this or do I just let this go, right? It can also mean that, you know, you felt like there was some kind of forward motion and there were some positive things developing with your career, and you've hit a bit of a stall. You know, the 4 of Pentacles is like, I'm stuck. I don't know how to move forward. It can mean that there is a sense of taking too long to work through things, you know, heavy timelines, or not really feeling like you're making any headway with physical, you know, financial developments as well. The 4 of Pentacles is a funny card. I mean, it can talk about where the blockages are coming from, either holding on too tight or not holding on to the things that should bring you the most value. In this case, I think with the Devil card coming up in the final position, it is definitely talking about Saturn, and it's being like, look, you have to ask yourself if you want to carry this into the future. You have to ask yourself if you want to continue these emotional or home or family patterns. You have an opportunity to let it all go. And I wonder, like, is there home, family, property disputes? Is there inheritance disputes or estate disputes? Because the 6 of Pentacles is about handling something and divvying up tasks or responsibilities The Four of Pentacles can be about what you hold on to and what you share. And then the Devil card is like the limitations or the challenges that you have. You know, this can mean that you're feeling like you're responsible for things and you're not getting support from family. It can mean that you're feeling stuck in this like rigid kind of cycle of being like, I'm never going to get out of this. This is just going to kind of continue. It can also be feeling stuck financially and with potential kind of career moves. But the positive here is that I do think that the Star card being the confirmation card is basically being like, look, right now what you need is community. Right now what you need is people outside of your home environment or outside of your family environment, because like Saturn, it's like an anchor, right? It'll throw, if you throw it overboard in the 4th house, it's like that's not where your support's going to come from. Your support's going to come from Saturn and Pisces things, dissolving things that aren't making you feel supported, being your own mother or father, really creating a Zen den in your home, practicing spirituality, cleansing your home, taking baths, and connecting with community. Pluto is about to go into your 3rd house here pretty soon, which means there can be powerful changes and shifts in regards to communication, your neighborhood, you know, kind of relationships with other people who can help you feel empowered and help you feel heard. Likely a lot of change is going to be coming for you here, you know, December through, I would say, about February, Capricorn through Aquarius time. Much easier for Sagittarius because rising, I know you're a Gemini, but Sagittarius rising, because this is going to be when we start seeing sextiles happening with outer planets, and you're going to start to feel like you can kind of rebuild. All resonates. I put the brakes on a career, wasn't feeling anymore. Home is good, neighborhood not so much. Yeah, you're so right. I need to, yeah. And like literally, I mean, I have Saturn and Neptune in my 4th house, full disclosure, so I know what those transits feel like. Really what this is saying is that if you get stuck there, it's not going to allow you to connect with other people, and it's going to perpetuate that stuckness. So wonderful thing with Pluto being in Aquarius pretty soon. Get out and about, get social, get active in your community, start going for bike rides, maybe join a local community group, things like that. And that can also help maybe jumpstart writing. Because I remember you were like writing a book, weren't you? Or you were working on something that you were kind of putting out there, or so I thought. But this can jumpstart writing, you know, connecting with people in your community. This can really help kind of make some big shifts in regards to your mindset and help you get back on track with some of your goals. Okay? Good luck. I hope that that is helpful for you. Thanks for popping in, sending you lots of good healing vibes in the midst of some of those challenging transits. I've got Brandon, Tissa, Omar, and Felicia. What's up, Brandon? Brandon says, give me a general message from Spirit. Oops. Let's shuffle these correctly, shall we? Sorry, guys. There we go. So Brandon wants a general message from Spirit. Let's take a look here. How many times is this card going to come up, guys? Confirmation card, 6 of Pentacles. Five of Wands. My dude, you've got the Devil card coming up with 5 of Wands as confirmation. For me, I'm wondering, are you feeling like you're having to kind of break free from connections from someone or something? From what I remember, Aries rising and you had a lot of Taurus placements. I think about the Devil card, and that can be talking about Saturn. I think a lot of this is like talking about Saturn going direct. So just be mindful that Saturn is going to be waking up here. I think actually it did just in this last day. When did it go direct? Yeah, so now Saturn's direct. So maybe that's why we're pulling so many Devil cards. Feeling stuck or stagnant, or maybe trying to work your way out of some entanglements with somebody else or something else. This can also be about commitment to your routine and things that you're trying to work on behind the scenes in regards to your career stuff. Maybe feeling conflicted. Sometimes the 5 of Wands is talking about energies going in different directions and being like, I want to do this, but I want to do this, but I want to do that. And Saturn is coming in with the Devil card being like, you need to commit to one thing. And having Saturn going through your 12th house is about letting things come to an end. Having like Mars and all these other planets go through your 8th house is really about being able to initiate change. So if anything, I feel like the Five of Wands with the Devil card is saying it's about not resisting change, not falling back into old patterns because you're afraid to turn over a new leaf and try something new. This might also be indicating like watching for some kind of challenges in regards to making moves in regards to superiors. So bosses, parents, like leaders, mentors, teachers. There can be a sense of you being like, okay, I'm questioning whether or not I'm, seeing eye to eye with some of these people. Could it be a crisis in regards to your belief or your faith? Possibly. I think about how you're going to have like a Mercury retrograde and Mars and all these planets going into your 9th house, which is great for Aries. But all of those transits are going to square Saturn and Neptune. So that can mean that you're questioning, what is my path moving forward with my belief system or my education? What can I rely on? And I would be really careful with the Devil coming up with the Five of Wands. Anybody you're dealing with who's telling you, you can't do this, you can't move forward, this is not possible, because you might kind of get a little bit of pushback, get a little bit of resistance. Lean into the transits that are going to be in Scorpio, because they're going to be saying to you, if something's not working, we're going to let it go. We're going to kind of hit restart and we're going to start over. And you're going to want to use November and December as an opportunity to be exploring, learning, traveling, or maybe returning to an old belief system, or returning or reconnecting with somebody who can kind of give you some direction, especially if you feel like you're kind of limited or stunted or hitting a wall. Okay? Don't let people tell you you can't do things, because I feel like the Five of Wands and the Devil card is going to be some people who are going to be telling you this is not possible. And that can manifest as having some self-limiting thoughts. Good luck. I've got Tissa, Omar, Felicia, and then Elaine. You guys are all next on deck. Tissa, Omar, Felicia, and Elaine. I know some of you guys are saying, you forgot about me. No, you guys, I'm just going in the order of the readings that we received. It's just taking a little bit longer. So we've got Tissa, and she says, I'm a Capricorn rising, Aries sun. Okay. Will this Taurus Sag moon man reach out to me? Good luck, Brandon. So Capricorn rising, Aries sun. Will this Taurus Sag moon man reach out to me? Let's take a look. In this order. Well, it looks like you're going to get a phone call, text message. They'll reach out. The card that I was looking for was the Ace of Swords, and you got it. That is the clarification for me for the will they call, will I hear from them? Because this is about initiating or new beginnings or opportunities with communication. So yes, I do see that happening. Ace of Swords can be a week, a month, increments of one. I don't think it's one day. That would be Wands. But look for within this next month. Also, the Nine of Cups is the getting what you want, getting what you're wishing for, being happy, feeling joyous and fulfilled because you're hearing from this person. This can also be talking about like intentions in regards to connecting with them. I wonder, like, are they playing it cool? Is there a sense of them taking some time to reach out to you because they're trying to kind of like get you to be caught off guard or surprised that they reach out? It's possible. The Nine of Cups is also about manifestation. So here's a fun trick. This is something I would recommend that works pretty well. And generally it can get somebody to call you. So take a piece of paper, because the Ace of Swords is about initiating something, and Nine of Cups is wishes. Take a piece of paper, write the person's name on the piece of paper 3 times. And then around that person's name, you want to write call me or text me. Take the piece of paper, put it in between your phone case on your cell phone, and just leave it there. Watch what happens. Generally, you will hear from that person within a short period of time. It's so bizarre, but it definitely works. Nine of Cups is about wishing something into fruition, and the Ace of Swords is about kind of initiating that call. So that might help. Seven of Cups is also talking about, like, it can be you spinning and being like, oh my God, what if I don't hear from them? Do I come up with an action plan or a way of being able to get in touch with them? Maybe, but I think this is also about kind of being given the runaround about like where they were and maybe why it took so long for them to reach out to you, or You know, maybe they're telling you like, oh, I've got a lot going on. I just wanted to touch base. And you're like, why did they reach out to me if they didn't make plans? Or they're not much of a communicator, or they're not much of a texter, right? Because that Seven of Cups can seem a little confusing. Or they can be, you know, connecting with you, but it doesn't really seem like plans are being made. Once you get that contact and there is the initial kind of reach, I think that the Eight of Wands as the confirmation card is saying that the speed of the connection between the two of you will kind of speed up very quickly. Plans might be made. You might quickly kind of get together. There might be a sense of this person being like, look, I'm super busy. I got a lot going on. Like, let's just plan something. And you may not hear a lot in between, but it does look like it may lead to like a physical interaction and like, you know, coming together and seeing each other. So wait for the initial contact and you can make plans. But I definitely think that you're going to hear something. Good luck. We've got Omar, Felicia, and then Elaine and Mary. All right, Omar says, what do I need to do to get over this creative block? All right, good question. Let's take a look. Let's see. What does Omar need to do to get over this creative block? You're welcome. In this order. Interesting. I like this. What is it that you're doing creatively? Are you writing? Are you writing? Are you content creating? Are you storytelling? What are you putting together? There they are. Libra rising, Taurus moon, Sag sun. Okay, cool. So depending on your degree of a Libra rising, you know, whole sign, right? Saturn is the ruler of your 5th house and it's hanging out in your 6th. So it's about creating time to feel more creatively inspired, having delays. Yeah, writing. I thought so. Page of Swords. And the other way of looking at this is you do have Uranus oppositions in your 8th house. Uranus is the modern day ruler of your 5th house. There's a lot of power and opportunity and energy and force coming with Mercury, Mars, and the Sun going through your 2nd house, really pushing you to like physically show up. As weird as this sounds, you know, you may start to feel inspired very slowly, but once it starts to creep up on you, you're like full steam ahead. I think about, you know, Mercury going into your 3rd house pretty soon. So that's going to be about being able to feel more inspired and kind of creative and visual with your writing. This is going to be in this next week. And it's going to square Saturn. And the best advice I can give you is not trying to force creativity into a time constraint. Being like, I must write at this time every day and just assuming that it's going to show up. That's not really how the creativity bug is going to kind of present itself. The reason why I say this is not just because of your transits, but 7 of Pentacles is about taking your time. There may be a sense of being like over-analyzing. Am I, you know, working on a project that's not going to go anywhere? Is this going to pay off? What am I doing? 7 of Pentacles is about being particular and choosy about where you're kind of putting your time and your effort. It is also about tending to the projects that may take a little bit more time, that might need a little bit more nurturing. I love a Mercury retrograde in the 3rd house to go back over things you've been writing. And if you set something aside and put it down for a little bit, you can return to it. I only say this because we're going to be in a Mercury retrograde mid-December through January. So that can be a time where you do that. 2 of Swords is also about reassessing and making decisions about whether you are going to trash something. So maybe you've been working on something and you're like, can I fix this? Or do I just toss it? Do I start from scratch? There can be this sense of being indecisive right now and feeling kind of torn, or feeling like there is a sense of pressure of having to pick a lane. When this card comes up, I always feel inclined to tell my clients, like, you're not going to be able to make a decision right now. You might be putting too much pressure on the situation. Take a step back, give it increments of 2 days, 2 weeks, and then return back to this and see how it's going. This might also be about working on 2 different projects at once, or, you know, being more so open to being like, okay, well, I'm taking a break from this. I'm going to see where creativity flows, and maybe there's like another story or another project that comes through. And then finally, Page of Swords, which is about getting back into the swing of writing, new techniques that you're going to be using. It might be some training exercises. You know, pages are about approaching things with like a new set of eyes and approaching it in a more youthful, inexperienced manner. I wonder, is it like doing your morning pages and being like, okay, I'm going to get up every day and just, you know, do a writing dump for 15 minutes, and it doesn't matter what it is, as long as I'm in the art of writing, maybe inspiration is going to strike. I also think that when you start to see planets coming into conjunction with Saturn, which will be in the spring, February and March, you're going to be more in the swing of being like, I have time that I'm setting aside to be creative, rather than having all of my schedule figured out for me. You know, you're leaving room for creativity to strike, or to be feeling a little bit more, just inspired, right? Without feeling like you have to force it. So unfortunately, you know, Pisces is about creative endeavors and Saturn is about limitation. So I think that it might be worth looking at your schedule and looking at some of your other time constrictions, or looking at some of your deadlines that you might be having for other things, and freeing up some time so you have more opportunity to do, you know, workshops or other exercises or things, so you can be feeling a little bit more inspired. Do I see the blockage clearing? Yeah, I do see the blockage clearing. And there's the confirmation, the Ace of Swords coming through. So it is saying like you're going to have a fresh start, but I think it's going to be about approaching this in a different way. And rather looking at this as going like nothing's coming, nothing's coming, nothing's coming, putting something on back burner and being like, I'm starting something new. And if I feel inclined to go back to that or to bring new life to that project, I will. Give it about a month to work through this though. Such a great Mercury retrograde coming up for you to be able to work with that energy better. And be looking for new exercises or workshops or other things you can do. You know, that page of swords can be about approaching it in a way that is like a student, or somebody who is just, you know, freshly kind of getting into this type of writing. It might be about going back to some of the old exercises that you've had in the past. And also, you'd be surprised with Saturn and Pisces about how meditation can really positively impact your creative process. So I'd really recommend making time for that as well. I hope that's helpful for you. I've got Felicia, Elaine, Mary, and then Amanda. Felicia says, I've called things off with my partner as he seems to not know if he wants to be with me or what the future holds. When I asked about his intentions with me, I find it so hard to not be offended by keeping someone on a string just in case. I'm curious about my general path for love in 2024. All right, well, let's take a look. She says, Virgo sun, Virgo moon, Libra rising. Well, the long and short of it, Saturn is in opposition to your sun and moon. So you're going to hear as a Virgo, Saturn going through Pisces is about relationship challenges and maybe somebody keeping you at a little bit of a distance. When Saturn moves out of opposition with the degrees of your sun and your moon, that'll ease up or it'll increase depending on, you know, where your degrees are. If you're a later degree Virgo sun or Virgo rising, Saturn and Neptune will eventually oppose some of those placements, and that could literally be somebody being like, I don't know, which means you're no longer really holding space or holding time for people who don't know. That's the long and short of the transits for Virgo rising. Or Virgo sun, excuse me. For Libra rising, you have eclipses in the 7th house, which actually means over the next year and a half, the relationship activity is going to evolve quite quickly. New people can come in with North Node eclipses in your 7th. You can meet new partners. And I would really be focusing on looking at transits to your natal Mars, because that's going to be an indication of what's going on with your partnerships. But look at the spring where there's eclipses that can bring new people in. This week, we are starting to see Venus in Virgo coming into an opposition with Neptune. So that can be this feeling of being like, I'm not getting what I need from another person. Venus rules your chart. You might feel like somebody's, you know, not getting back to you or not giving you clarity, or not appreciating you, right? And what you kind of bring to the table. So after a series of challenging transits for Libra risings the last couple of months, this can be the grand finale of realizing like what you need in relationships, right? In this order. So my deck has 2 devil cards. The first devil is more about limitation and addictions and bad habits. This devil is more about temptation. So here's my thought on this. First of all, the cards that you get are very positive, right? Even though the Devil card can be a difficult card. You know, in the previous position, this is about temptation and falling into patterns, I think, of letting other people dictate control, or feeling like other people are running the show when it comes to the direction of where the relationship is going, and feeling bound by other people's problems, desires, limitations, challenges, and blockages, which I think a lot of Virgos would say, like, yeah, I'm having some challenges with my relationships to other people. The Devil card can literally represent somebody who's got bad habits and blockages in relationships, and you're kind of looking at the past being like, this has happened in the past, whether it's in this relationship or previous relationships. You see the cycle and you're like, I'm moving away from this. I don't want to do this. Ace of Cups is opportunity for new love and relationship. So it's basically saying, like, you have the ability to have a renewal in a relationship, to have a clean slate. It can be talking about really focusing more on love and what you're hoping to achieve with partners. I would encourage you not to be fixated on any one particular person, because I know that the North Node eclipses are going to show you in your 7th house where partners are going to come in and actually take action. Part of being a Libra rising, because that energy is Venusian, is about partnering, you know, meeting somebody halfway, being the mediator, trying to, you know, caretake with other people. But the 7th house Aries is like, trust me, you'll know when the person you're supposed to be with shows up, because they will act like an Aries. They're not going to say, I don't know, I'm not sure, this, that, and the other. You're going to be like, fuck that. The Aries person that comes in, they could have, you know, sun, moon, rising, Venus, North Node, whatever. They will be like, what's up? I'm here. Are we doing this? And it'll be very quick. Things will develop very quickly. You will sense that they are naturally kind of taking the lead in the relationship, and Aries energy will literally hunt you down. So it doesn't really sound like the dude that you're with, unless, you know, you guys take a break and you're like, no, I'm putting you on back burner until you figure out what direction you're going in, and he comes in hot. Anyway, Ace of Cups is new love opportunities. North Node in Aries is new love opportunities. And I feel like it would be about setting your intentions on being like, I want love. I don't want to settle. I want the whole thing, right? And not giving in on your non-negotiables. I love that you get the Ace of Cups and then the 10 of Cups, because it's saying, like, the willingness to start over and really going after what you feel like your heart wants and what you need will pay off in the long run, right? Because if you're going into a relationship with somebody, or those commitment conversations, and they're like, I don't know, it's not a good indication for the future, because this is the finish line. So this is saying, if you commit and you're open to a new relationship or a new person, maybe, you know, the 10 of Cups can say, look, you're going to get what you want in the end, right? Like the astrology is really good for Libra risings right now. The challenge is the South Node in your 1st house, and because Libra risings are opposite, right? The Libra in the 1st is about the self and balance and beauty and harmony. Aries in the 7th, which is about challenge and overcoming and, you know, challenges from other people. It's not just about North Node in the 7th, you're meeting people. It's about you taking action, Aries, in regards to standing up for the relationship with yourself. So there will be more challenge, more conflict. You're going to see a lot of Libra risings that are going to start really being a little bit more, I'm not going to say confrontational, but they're going to be less pushovers. They're going to be less patient. They're going to be more like, this isn't working for me, and actually challenging other people. The 7th house can be duels. Anyway, don't be afraid to tell people what you want. Don't be afraid to be really honest with yourself about what your non-negotiables are. Open yourself up. Know that in the end, you're going to get what you want. If you're a single lady and you're having eclipses in your 7th house, you know, this will be the first time in 19 years that you've been having it. So it may be your very first time as like an adult that's dating that you're getting this experience, and it could bring somebody very significant into your life. So with that being said, I feel like it's going to end well. 10 of Cups is, you know, marriage or family or children, or, you know, complete emotional fulfillment and like getting everything that you need. And then the World card is the confirmation, which is basically being like, look, you're cycling this out. What you're cycling out is being with individuals who don't have a sense of direction, or they're limiting you when it comes to your goals. So you're going to be more willing when you meet people and connect with people to be like, this is what I want, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm hoping to achieve. Are you with it? Or are you not with it? Okay, great. And the more that you're doing that, you're going to kind of sift out some of these people who might be stuck in patterns and kind of really start quickly approaching the direction that you would like to be going with your relationships. Good luck. It's going to end well. It might be that relationship, and I've seen this for a lot with clients. It's like there's that one that you just like, you keep going round and round and round and round, and things just don't pan out, and then you let them go, and there was like some karmic thing that unlocks, and then shortly after that, you know, you meet somebody else. It's almost like good luck Chuck or something, you know. Hopefully that's helpful for you. I've got Elaine, Mary, Amanda, and Kimberly. What's up, Elaine? She says, hey Candace, I'm back for another reading. You're my #1 astrologer and reader, so I'm at a crossroads right now with my career. I'll be finishing my general psych degree next fall, but I also have an opportunity to gain acceptance into a psychiatric nursing program. If I do decide to go this route, I'm looking to graduate in 2027. I'll be 32. I really want to work and earn extra income already to help my parents. I'm just trying to set up my financial stability for the future. It's this route or psychotherapy, which the pay isn't that great with instability and job security. The main question I have for the cards is, what will happen if I decide to become a registered psych nurse? Will I feel like I made a mistake? Will it actually be something satisfying? And accept that it's just a job that pays my bills at the end of the day. Virgo Sun, Cap Moon, Cancer Rising, Saturn MC, and Pisces. Okay, so you're gonna, I mean, obviously you know the astrology, so you're gonna be dealing a lot with Saturn return, right? Saturn going through your 9th house, you know, having some kind of completion in regards to what you believe your beliefs are about work and career. I think something else that's kind of working in your favor is, you know, you are going to see that Saturn is going to be sextiling, you know, your moon. It's going to be trining your ascendant and making other aspects that are going to kind of harmonize with your chart. The thing that really gets me thinking about this is Saturn MC in Pisces and, you know, the square from Jupiter. So you are kind of feeling like the back and forth with, you know, do I make decisions that are going to be best for my career? Do I make decisions that are going to be, you know, kind of best for my overall schedule, my life? Jupiter in the 6th is great for healthcare in general, if you're a Cancer rising. And the Virgo Sun that you have also, I think, is really great for like mental things and like kind of being busy. So I like that chart for being like nursing. For all you know, it could mean that you take you know, a job in that field and you're working it and it makes sense. And then you find out that you may go and work for a hospital or for a department that wants to help pay for continuing education. Like you may actually see that towards the tail end of your transits because you have Saturn and Neptune in the 9th, right? And you're still yet to see Saturn and Neptune go into your 10th house. So that's even further down the road. I'm sure I've said that to you, but I just want to really reiterate because that Saturn-Neptune ingress will be very significant for Cancer rising. You're going to be like, and I'm starting over. So you may potentially do something in the interim until you get to that point. All right, so let's see what the cards say. And I got them in this order. So 9 of Wands, the Knight of Swords, and the 8 of Wands are coming up. And the confirmation card is the 3 of Pentacles. So here's the only concern that I have. I don't really feel like it's feeling like you gave up. You know, part of Saturn being in the 9th house is about getting the higher education in general. Doesn't mean that you need to be a doctor. It doesn't even mean that you have to have your master's. It just means that you're getting some kind of degree that you feel like resonates with your soul. Especially being like Saturn being connected to your 7th house, which is about helping people and like being there to help people like more so immediately psychologically. It may at the very least be a really good experience as like a bridge to eventually going and continuing your degree. So don't look at it as I have to take this or, you know, continue with school, because it's not going to be one or the other. 9 of Wands does make me feel like the challenge is kind of looking at this going like, okay, did I give up? Because the 9 of Wands is about keep going, don't quit, you're almost there, don't give up. You know, completing and going into this program where you're doing nursing, it's still going to bridge into other things that you were going to do anyway. So I don't see that as giving up. Knight of Swords is interesting because it says that it may actually bring you the opportunity to have opportunity to travel. And I would say that anyway with Saturn in the 9th, You may be able to find that it's easier to get employment, you know, having that degree as nursing, where you could be a travel nurse or you could get jobs out of state, and it would allow you to move forward in your career more quickly. This can also talk about the mental stimulation of like talking to people, communicating, you know, getting that experience of the one-on-one that you're having with them prior to potentially creating higher, you know, levels of education. So I personally have known a lot of people who are in the medical field that went on to higher levels of healthcare. And they started in nursing, or they started as a LVN or a hospital assistant, and then they became an RN, and then they went and, you know, became a nurse practitioner, or they became like a doctor. To be honest with you, from my experience, what I've seen is the position that seems to have the most flexibility, and I've seen a lot of people in these fields, is nursing, because they can go into any field. But also nurse practitioners. So you may go the route of being like, yeah, I want to be a nurse, and then potentially be a nurse practitioner because I can specialize in anything that I want and still be able to support and kind of work underneath the doctor. I do feel like this will get things off very quickly because the Eight of Wands is saying like it's going to jumpstart stuff. You'll be able to work in the field faster. You'll be able to make money. You know, Three of Pentacles is saying like you'll also be able to kind of really hone in on your craft and perfect that. What this does give you is it gives you hands-on experience in the field. So you'll be able to like do this work and be like, okay, now I know after doing it for a couple of years, do I really want to work in, you know, psychology, or do I want to be working with like mental health patients? Like that may actually give you that real confirmation as to whether or not it's for you or not. I think in the long run, you can't go the general nurse route right now. Yeah. So, I mean, in the long run, I feel like if you do this, it will still be temporary. I guess that's really what I'm getting at. I don't think this is going to be your end all be all. I think that you would do this to be able to segue and start doing that work, but ultimately you will complete a higher level of education. I also think about when Jupiter is in Cancer, and that might be in a couple of years when Jupiter is moving into your first house and it's trining Saturn, which will have gone through the Saturn return, and also trining Neptune. And that might be a segue where you're going into something new. But personally, based off of the cards, it's saying regardless, you can't look at if you take a job right now as if you're quitting, because it does look like you're going to go back and you're going to complete something. So see it as more of like a pit stop or a segue, not necessarily that you're giving up on the dream of the higher education, just that you're potentially going to be taking something on that would allow you to start making money sooner. And I think equally getting the experience that you need before you make a bigger decision about a long-term commitment in your field, right? So hopefully that's helpful for you. And the Three of Pentacles tells me, even though there may be a position that's coming up, that you have time. It's kind of being like, you looking at it going like, I could take that, but there's other options out there. So this isn't something that you have to make a decision with right now. More job opportunities will continue to come. I've got Mary, Amanda, and Kimberly, and Vanessa. All right. So Mary, she just says service. Are you here, Mary? Let me know your question. Kimberly. And then Vanessa. Okay, I got you guys. Mary, let me know. Oh, there you are. I'm a Capricorn sun, Aquarius, rising, Aries, moon. Do you have a particular question for me? You're welcome, Elaine. All right, let's take a look at your job outlook. All right, so this is for you, Mary. What do the cards say about your potential job outlook? There we go. In this order. Interesting. Are you feeling like you're kind of questioning your current position or your current standings? Do things kind of feel like you're unsure about the future in terms of your current position or whether or not you're going to be able to maintain what you're doing. I've got Ace of Pentacles, Seven of Wands, and the Moon card crossed with the Ten of Cups. So positive ending all in all. You know, Ace of Pentacles talks about money, stability, resources, security. It can be an indication that new opportunities are on the horizon, new job proposals, raises, new opportunities to be able to have more so financial security. This is also talking about a cycle. So the cycle can be saying through the winter, or it can be saying through this next year. That in the past position is kind of saying like, look, I've been focusing on new ways of being able to grow my resources, or new ways of being able to bring in business or generate wealth. Followed by the Seven of Wands. So it's like, you know, you're saying you work 6 days a week. Like that's, your cards are kind of indicating you're working hard, and you might be asking yourself like, how long do I have to do this for? When are things going to kind of let up? I think about, you know, you being in Aries rising and Aquarius rising, Aries moon, Aquarius rising with, you know, Jupiter and Uranus in your 4th house. And there can be a lot of things that are changing with your home, physically, your family, and your resources. And you're also going to find that there's going to be a lot of changes that are going to be happening as a Capricorn sun when it comes to your home life, because there's eclipses in Aries. So I don't know if there's either changes with your family, changes with siblings, you know, talking about maybe people moving in, moving out, but that's kind of what comes to mind with your astrology. I work in high-level accounting, and yes, I question opportunities coming up. Seven of Wands is saying that like where you're at right now, not just because you're working hard, but like you are somebody who maintains your position. I don't see a loss of job. I don't see a change of job. I don't see anything like that. I see this more as you kind of being like, okay, how can I maintain my position in the career that I'm doing, or, you know, better, and also give myself more time to breathe or have downtime to rest and recover, and also feel like I can catch a break. Because the Moon card is about being emotional. It can be about feeling a little overwhelmed. I think about being an Aquarius rising and, you know, how you are basically going to be having situations with, you know, lunar transits in your 6th house. That's about making changes to your work and your routine. I think it could also be about how your emotions and your mood and your feelings are influencing or impacting your ability to work. So when the Moon card comes up as the final position, it's saying there is something that's kind of like going on subconsciously behind the scenes, or some feelings or emotions that are coming up that need to be dealt with. If anything, I feel like this is about not doubting yourself and maybe putting yourself in a position where you're like, you know what, I'm really good at what I'm doing. I know I'm capable of doing more. Do I want to stay here, or do I want to take a chance and get outside of my comfort zone? You know, do I apply for other jobs? Do I raise my rates? Do I have negotiations with my bosses or with my clients, trying to see if there's a way to be able to kind of boost my, you know, my positions. And then the Ten of Cups coming up is also saying, where you're at right now, it seems like whatever challenges or doubts or questions that you have about potential opportunities that are coming up, to me, it looks very positive. Like it looks like, you know, you may end up getting a situation that you're very pleased with. You might get offered a position or a change in your role or a change in your responsibilities that is going to give you more room for emotional comfort, for, you know, being able to have more time to yourself, more time for your family, your relationships, for your private life, because Ten of Cups is about emotional security. I love that it starts with an ace and it finishes with a 10. It might mean that you're looking at things going, work is there, there's going to be work, there is a multitude of things that I can do, but is it worth my time? And how can I be taking on positions that are going to be paying me more so for my time, so I'm not really feeling like I'm overworking and not getting to enjoy the downtime or, you know, the fruits of my labor. I also feel like, you know, the Seven of Wands, it reminds me of all the planets that are going through Scorpio right now. So, you know, as an Aquarius rising, you're going to see Sun and Mercury and Mars moving through your 10th house, which is a time where you're very busy. There is going to be lots of opportunities. It may be something that kind of pulls you away from your home or your relationships, or maybe you're working a little bit longer hours than usual. But this is also about a competitiveness that's kind of coming up in your professional life. And, you know, being in a situation where you're just like, you know what, like I'm just gonna go for the next month. And then you will find that actually December, January, February, there is more kind of downtime. But I think with that downtime, you're gonna be reflecting and being like, in this next year, you know, how can I make moves to be working smarter, not necessarily harder? Owner of the company I work with is overworked and talks about committing suicide, lots of drama. Yeah. Well, I mean, the 7 of Wands can be like this feeling of like having to be in a position of telling somebody, you know, or trying to walk somebody off of the ledge, or, you know, trying to say like, hey, you know, don't put me in this position. And the Moon card is the emotional or the mental distress that can come from it. But to be honest with you, like the Ace of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups is talking about some kind of completion of something that you're feeling better about. So it might mean that you're like, you know what? I'm doing really well in this job. This is great, but it's not worth the emotional strife. So let me see what else is out there. And throwing your hat into the ring if you're looking for other potential options or opportunities, like you will be somebody who will definitely stand out in interviews, because 7 of Wands is somebody who can hold their own. They're very confident, they're very capable, and they're really able to kind of get the job done. So look, especially around the full moons, you know, the moon can be kind of talking about a full moon or like a lunar cycle, where there is an opportunity for completion, but also something that can, you know, really be benefiting you financially as well. Okay. Good luck with that. That sounds challenging. You don't want to be in a position of like feeling like you're kind of being stuck, you know, or guilted into feeling like you have to stay somewhere. So much of those cards are about realizing your worth and being like, man, I'm not getting paid enough for this. All right. So we've got Amanda, Kimberly, and then Vanessa. So Amanda says, 3-card pull. I recently started talking to James. He's a Pisces sun, Gemini moon. I'm a Cap sun, Virgo rising, Taurus moon, and North node. Let me know what you see for the outcome of this relationship. Well, you're all earth. I like that their sun is in your 7th house. Their moon is in your 10th house. So that's going to be maybe some challenges revolving around who's the responsible one or who's the initiator, maybe, that's kind of going on in the relationship. But all in all, the sun in the 7th house can be really complementary. So let's see what we can see about you and James. All right, so this is the order that I got. The Queen of Wands, King of Pentacles, 6 of Cups. Confirmation card is the Ace of Pentacles, although that was the bottom of the deck. So let's see what else we can get. Ooh. All right, that was the confirmation card. The Death card, changes, transformations, renewals. I really like when I'm doing a relationship reading, you know, when I pull 2 court cards, because it can tell me a lot about how both parties are potentially approaching this new encounter or this new relationship. So I know that he's a water sign and you're an earth sign, but the energies that you're kind of portraying is the Queen of Wands and the King of Pentacles. Queen of Wands, confident, you know, sexy, creative, somebody who's looking to have more, you know, fun or creative time with another person, making things happen. So there is something about the connection that you have with them that makes you kind of go, oh, I want more, or I want to go out there and do things differently, or I want to be active together. It can also be about you really kind of feeling yourself. And maybe this is just like knowing that this person really is attracted to you, or kind of like brings out your best qualities. That combined with the King of Pentacles can be talking about this other person who shows up in a very king way. So they're mature, responsible, they're considerate, they make decisions that kind of show you that they're actually thinking, they're not just kind of going through the actions. I love the King of Pentacles. I feel like they're the most mature of the kings. This is also somebody who has a tendency to really know what they want. I wonder if Saturn going through Pisces is kind of having that effect on them, where there is a sense of them really realizing and recognizing what their goals are, especially when it comes to their professional life or like long-term planning or financial planning. So a king and a queen are well matched. I do feel like there can be a sense of you really wanting to see things move forward and like wanting more time for that creativity and spontaneity and fun. And you may feel like it's just taking them a little bit longer to get out of their shell, or a little bit longer for them to kind of warm up to you. But Generally, the King of Pentacles is somebody who is commitment-oriented, slow-moving, devoted, very practical. So there can be a sense of them kind of approaching the relationship in these ways. And the final card is the Six of Cups. So that's about coming together, soul union, recognizing each other, seeing each other, there being potential for some kind of soulmate or reunion type energy. And that is a card that also talks about an innocence to the connection, that it's not just purely physical or sexual, that there is something that brings the two of you guys together that can feel whimsical and romantic and like you're potentially falling in love with this person. The confirmation card that I got was the Death card, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. I think that maybe it's like, whoa, this relationship is different. Maybe it's the way that he's approaching the relationship or you're approaching the relationship. Maybe it's that this connection feels different than what you've had with most other people, and that it has the ability to really change or transform you or the way that you look at partnerships. The Death card can also be about, renewal and healing. And it can be about kind of letting older versions of relationship issues or pain or trauma fall away, and somebody who comes in to help change the way that you look at relationships and partnering. The Death card is also about fusing with another person. So it is possible that there can be the sense of being like, okay, in other relationships I have felt very separate, but potentially with this person I feel like we actually have the opportunity to come together and be a unit and be whole together. And just all of the changes that are going to be happening in the midst of the transits in the month of November. So I really like this. I really feel like both of you guys are showing up in a way that's like very mature and bringing a lot to the table. Just give him time to kind of come out of his shell a little bit. That's the one bit of advice that I would give you. Good luck. I've got Kimberly who says, hey Candace, I have Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus is Leo, Scorpio, Pisces, Leo. So Sun, Moon, Rising. So Leo Sun, Scorpio Moon, Pisces Rising, and Leo Venus. What should I focus on in my creative work? Good question. All right, so you are a Pisces Rising, and you have a lot of planets going through Scorpio right now. Which can be really helpful for that Pisces rising, for belief and inspiration and travel and philosophy. You've also got Venus, which is getting ready to go into Libra, which can also be pretty sexy going into your 8th house. There can be a sense of a change or a transformation of how you're feeling influenced or how you're expressing your creative or your emotional energies. So let's take a look. Let's see what these cards have to say for you. Pull this one. So the card that you get is the Knight of Swords. For me, that's about taking chances, like doing something different than how you would usually do it. Confirmation card is the Temperance card. You know, the Knight of Swords can mean that you are choosing to write, you're choosing to log things, you're choosing to speak, write music, write stories, write notes to yourself, connect the dots in things. I think of like maybe making like a vision board for all of the, creative projects you're wanting to work at. But this is about taking more action when it comes to sharing your ideas and being more vocal and tapping into like that more masculine energy of like taking charge of creative stuff. The Temperance card is also about timing. So it's interesting that, the Knight of Swords can rush into something and be like, okay, I want to do all of this right now. Like now is the time, go. And Temperance is like, hold on a second, pump the brakes, like, work through it and then release the project. So I think it's about kind of pacing yourself, to be honest with you, and starting things and making sure that you're actually finishing them, being more focused on how you might be, kind of taking some of this creative work and maybe making media. So I don't know if it's going to be like social media, if it's going to be posts, if it's going to be blogs, things you're writing, something that you're potentially going to be launching that's going to be like more, like it sounds weird, but information based. Like I know you're asking about creative work, but I don't see this as like painting or collages or photography. It's like how I'm taking my creative ideas and putting them into motion and talking to people about what I'm creating and somehow doing something creative that might be also informationally based as well. And that Temperance card is basically saying timing is everything. Pace yourself, take your time. make sure that you're not just rushing through things. You might be suddenly really inspired by something, but it's about seeing the projects all the way through, and allowing them to unfold in the right time without feeling like you have to, you know, get everything out, get it out right now. So definitely take your time in the midst of these transits. I hope that's helpful for you. And I wonder, what creative work do you do, especially if it is like writing, blogging, media, storytelling, publishing, something like that would be really positive with some of these transits. And then we've got Vanessa. You are the real MVP this evening. Thank you for waiting. Vanessa says, I wanted to gain some insight on my sister's situation. When or will she ever get her 2 boys back? If so, what is the time frame looking like, and what can she do to ensure it? All right, let's take a look. Let's see. Chris says, do you do birthday readings? I do. I do solar return readings. That is definitely something I do. All right, so let's take a look on Vanessa's sister in terms of getting the boys back and timing and what she can do to ensure it. Well, thank Goddess I pulled a timing card. Ace of Wands. And the confirmation card is the 6 of Wands. So Ace of Wands is the element of fire. Okay, so we're talking fire months. This is like Sagittarius, which is end of November through December. This is Aries, which is end of March through April. This is also Leo, which is end of July through August. So that's timing. Usually the Ace of Wands can be about one of the fire months, or it can actually be talking about the astrological new year. So when planets are segueing into Aries, okay, that's what I would look for. 2 is the Ace of Wands can be about working with the element of fire, writing intentions and burning it, burning candles, really focusing on fire visualization meditations. It can also be working with shifting energies around in her body to where she's not feeling any blockages that's keeping her or hindering her from being able to achieve her goals. I really think of, like, you know, cleansings and limpias also associated with fire. I've seen like a lot of different rituals done where people do like cleansings of the body. I've seen people use eggs, some people use baths, salts, and all of that stuff, but I really feel like saging, smudging, or things where there is, you know, purifying through smoke or fire with the body is really helpful. That might help her in terms of feeling like more you know, having more confidence or having more courage when it comes to kind of this challenge. Also, the 6 of Wands is about homecoming, people returning, connecting, being well received. And it is talking about the element of 6. So it's like, I think of being in November, 6 months from now, we get into the spring. You might be looking at that time. This is about people also supporting her and rallying around her. And it might mean that she's getting references or like letters on, you know, references for her personally that's going to be kind of backing her up and supporting her, that she might be getting from a boss or from a parent or from a friend. People who are basically saying like, look, you know, she has done everything she needs to do. She's a well, you know, stand-up person and also parent. And people who are going to be kind of going to bat for her and not just encouraging her, but also supporting her and vouching for her in terms of being somebody who is capable of being able to take care of them. I remember looking at this in the past being like, yeah, it's gonna get worked out, but it's gonna take time. This makes me at least feel optimistic that even though this may be a time frame that may be up to 6 months in the future, that if she can get things energetically in alignment now with feeling and knowing that that is coming and believing in it and really building up her energy and her confidence, that it's going to make it all that much more likely that it will physically manifest in the new year. So focus on being a part of that support system for her and encouraging her to be doing things, to be cutting off, purging, you know, clearing out things in the past that might have been holding her back, so she can be really focusing on that confidence and that energy, so she can really step forward and fight, right, for the rights to be able to kind of have them back in her life. Really positive cards. Only Acre says, makes sense. I've had 3 years, love presenting creatively. I was 30 years old, write blogs. Awesome. I love that. yeah, that's definitely the direction where you're going with stuff that you're going to be writing. But like I said, you know, pacing yourself, making sure that everything is actually ready, and maybe shifting to one project before you launch another. Hopefully that's helpful, Vanessa. I almost kind of wonder if it's like worth like doing like an invocation for like a guardian angel that, you know, works with the element of fire. I want to say isn't that's Saint Michael, right? I believe. I should know this. Let's see. Associated with courage, protection, divine intervention. So maybe some Saint Michael work, maybe like a Saint Michael prayer, maybe like a candle, maybe some like protection work involving Saint Michael, but that's what I would recommend doing. I think we got everybody. If I'm missing anybody, let me know. If you guys haven't already, please give me a thumbs up, like the stream, especially if you've hung out with me all evening. I appreciate it. We're going to be back here tomorrow, so we'll be doing the astro weather. I'm going to talk to you guys all about Venus going into Libra, what that means for relationships, and the fact that we're finally going to get a little bit more peace and diplomacy. We've got a really wild also new moon in Scorpio in this next week, and some Mars-Uranus opposition. So make sure you check out the astro weather tomorrow morning. I will be back here obviously Tuesday and Thursday, putting out more content in this next week. I just want to say a big thank you for hanging out with me on your Saturday evening. I will return next week to my regular Friday timing, so sorry to kind of throw you guys off, but my schedule has been wackadoodle. I have like a lot of different events and things going on in November, so I'm kind of shifting things around. Make sure you're subscribed. I would appreciate it. That way you can see the new videos that are coming out, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I will see all of you guys here back sometime soon. Take care.